Okay. Since I got back from GDQ, like a bunch of people did like SGDQ recap streams and like did watch back of their runs and stuff. And I wasn't really planning on it, but people keep asking me to do it, so we're gonna do that. Hey Eddie, you're welcome. Now you know how it feels. So GDQ was really good. It was a really fun time. And honestly, I knew that I really like needed the trip. And I had a feeling that Sassy really needed it too. But I think we both needed it in ways that we didn't realize, which is interesting. Because if I'm being honest, I mean, I've kind of reverted back into my normal state as of now. Like, I had kind of a high from the experience for a few days, and now I'm kind of back to my normal, like, default down, whatever. But even considering that, I don't know. Like, I feel like a different version of myself since getting back, which is good. It's in a good way, you know? So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna look at some photos. They're in rough chronological order. We're just gonna talk about the trip for a while. And then
is in captivity.
Then we're gonna do watch back of the race. And then I'll get back to my any percent stuff. If I can find the album. Here it is. Okay. So first of all, AGDQ 2019, when I went to that, I met up with Kano. And honestly, he was like a lifesaver for me on that trip. He picked me up from the airport. He dropped me off at the airport. He hung out with me the whole time at the event. I'm a very introverted, shy person by nature, and so like having somebody there to like anchor me at that time, you know, in 2019, like that was key to me having a good time. And Kano and Waldo were extremely instrumental in that trip happening, which is good because I'm so glad that I did that RBO run back then. Because I didn't realize it at the time, but that was like the beginning of what has become like a new chapter in my life. And it's funny because when I went to AGDQ 2019 to run RBO, I thought I was like closing a chapter. So that's like super ironic, right? But anyway, while we were there, we needed to get food, right? And I promise this is going somewhere. I promise this is going somewhere. I'm okay. You guys know how much of a dork I am on stream, right? Like I am, I'm a dork. Yeah, I just am. When I'm comfortable in person, I'm just as much of a dork in person, as long as I'm comfortable, right? And I got comfortable around Kano really fast. So we were like trying to figure out where to go eat, and I was like, we could go to Wendy's. And he was like, yeah, I guess we could do Wendy's. And I was like, Wendy's. And he's like, okay. And I kept saying it that way the entire trip. I'd just be like, let's go eat at Wendy's. Wendy's. And it became this like inside joke between us. And so like, it's probably like 6 months ago or something. Um, Kano sends me this Discord message. He just drew this in paint real quick. And like, isn't it great? So as soon as he sent me that, I was like, dude, you have to come to GDQ. I need to see you. And he was like, okay. So he ended up coming, and I'm really glad about that. Ironically, we were talking about getting Wandies the whole time. We never did. So there's that. But it's just like, look at like you can tell he just like this was just a one-off. Like, he didn't try and fix anything. It was just like blah 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 blah. Anyway, so I wanted to share that, and then yeah, we're just gonna go through these. These photos are in like rough chronological order, but they're definitely not in like true chronological order, if that makes sense. So this is Sassy and I when we look at. I'm looking at the Wendy's picture on my phone. That's funny. This is Sassy and I when we got to the hotel. We were very fortunate that Twin let us stay in her room with her. That was a huge help for us financially. If you can't tell, we look very tired. And the reason for that is, how do I summarize this? Our trip to Minneapolis it did not go as expected. When we boarded our plane, we were waiting to take off, and the pilot came on the speaker, and he said, "Hey, so there's some air traffic going on in Minneapolis. They're having some construction done on their runways, and they need us to wait to take off. We haven't been cleared to take off yet, so we might be sitting here for up to an hour." This is from our departure. He was saying we might be sitting here for up to an hour. I'm sorry about that, blah, 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 right? We were like, oh, this sucks. We ended up only sitting for about like 20 or 30 minutes, so it wasn't that bad. We got in the air, and the flight there was mostly uneventful, okay? But as it was ending, we were coming into land, okay? And just before landing, okay, so I'm gonna try and show this on my camera, on my face cam. Just before landing, so we're like coming in, and like here's the ground, like down here. We're like coming in for landing, right? And we're like 30 seconds from landing, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but like close enough that like my body had like gone into like, okay, like brace for landing mode, right? We're like coming in, we're landing. And then all of a sudden, the pilot is like, "Oh, never mind," and he tips the nose of the plane up, and the engines go full throttle. Okay, so it's just like, "Ugh!" And that was super scary. And he came on a couple minutes later, and oh man, I should have grabbed the flight pattern photo. I can do that real quick. One sec, but. Basically, he came on the speaker a couple minutes later, and he was like, "Hey, so air traffic control told us we couldn't land at the last minute for safety stuff or something like that, and we circled the airport basically." There's my browser. One sec. So. So we're like circling the airport waiting to land, okay? And let me show you this freaking traffic pattern. Like, Okay, we'll save this one. Or you know what? Okay, I'll just do this. Okay, so we're flying in, right, to Minneapolis. Here's the Minneapolis airport. We turn so that we can approach from a different angle. All right. We loop around. We're going in. We're about to land. And then this is where he's like, oh, never mind. And we pull up and he comes over here. And we, like I said, we're like circling the airport. Okay. What ended up happening, and again, this is for safety, whatever that means. We ended up landing in Rochester. Okay? They diverted our plane to Rochester. And we landed. And we're just sitting there in Rochester at the airport on the Rochester runways, and they're like trying to figure out, okay, like, can we fly them over to Minneapolis since that's where they paid to go? Like, what do we do? And we were sitting there for probably half an hour, and then they said, okay, sorry guys, we have to deplane you. They got us off the plane. And then we had to hang out at the Rochester airport while they figured out what to do with us. And what ended up happening was they got a bunch of buses, like coach buses, so not like school buses, and they bussed us into Minneapolis. It was a 90-minute bus ride, which is funny because the flight was like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. So so our flight ended up being like 3 hours or more, and then they had to bus us into Minneapolis. Okay. So because of that, we didn't get to the hotel for GDQ until after GDQ check-in had closed. Now let me clarify, because that when I said that initially, it confused some people. Obviously, like, if we had a room at the hotel, we still would have been able to check in to our room. We were staying with twins, so it was whatever. But when you arrive at GDQ, they make you check in, they give you your badge so that you can access the event areas and all that stuff. We arrived after check-in had closed. So because of that, we lost an entire day. It was like half a day, right? Of GDQ stuff, which sucked because like I was looking forward to meeting up with people on Wednesday night. But we couldn't because yeah. So that was our flight in, okay? So this is us at the hotel when we first arrived and were able to lay down after like 12 hours of traveling. We're very tired, obviously. So, is my beautiful wife Sassy. I just wanted to call out. She's amazing, and I don't like traveling. She loves traveling. I do not like traveling. So I don't like the idea ever of committing to traveling anywhere without her. So shout outs to Sassy. She's amazing. She's extremely supportive of me and all of this stuff that I do. And she submitted to be a volunteer photographer for GDQ this year and was accepted. So she took some awesome photos too, which is great. This is us on our way. I think we were on our way to 5-8 Club. So this is me with a doofy face, right? This is Sassy. This is Kano. This is Gameaholic. And then in the back here, this is Hockey making an awesome face. I need to adjust my cropping here real quick. One sec. I don't know how wide the widest photos in this album are, so I'm just like playing this by ear. But yeah, so 5-8 Club is a restaurant in Minneapolis that does some hamburgers. They're called Juicy Lucy's. And basically it's a hamburger that is stuffed with like cheese or whatever, right? And they're really good. They're super good. So we ate there last year when we came for SGDQ 2023, and we ate there a couple times again this year. Yeah, so this was us driving to 5-8 Club. And then this is us at 5-8 Club. So again, same people, except this is Cutie and Cutie's partner, Violet. They're both amazing people. So super cool, super fun times, and super good food. And then this is me just taking a photo in the stream room after, you know, got checked in, got our badges and stuff. I don't remember exactly why I took this photo. I think it was for my family to be like, oh, by the way, like I'm here and my run is in a couple days and blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to, you know, take a photo of the stream room and show them like I'm here in person. So that was cool. This is Hockey pointing at a Red Bull. I have no context for this photo, but it's a great photo. Look, I mean, it's great. Super great. This shirt. Okay, so you guys have probably seen me wearing this shirt many times over the years. There's a little bit of a backstory to this shirt on Hockey specifically. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about that. So again, back to AGDQ 2019. I wore this shirt at AGDQ 2019 for my RBO run. And the day of my run, I was in the practice room and I was wearing that shirt, but I also was wearing a jacket, which was zipped up and you couldn't see the shirt. And Hockey had been hanging out with Waldo. They were friends before Hockey and I were friends. And Waldo brought him to introduce him to me. So Hockey shows up in the practice room at AGDQ 2019 and he was wearing this shirt. Okay. And I don't have any recollection of this exchange, by the way, but Hockey remembers. And he told me about it. So apparently, you know, I'm sitting there practicing RBO, practicing for my run, whatever, and I meet Hockey and we probably shook hands and stuff. And apparently I said, "Hey, nice shirt, dude." And he was like, "Oh, you know, thanks." And because he likes this shirt. And then later, when I was on stage, he saw that I was wearing that same shirt. So that was a funny little exchange. So Hockey decided to wear this shirt for his commentary for our race, which is great. Just a little additional detail here. They don't print this shirt anymore, and Hockey's was worn out. But I got a hold of one in his size and sent it over to him just like 6 months ago or something as like a thank you for friendship and for his amazing contributions to the 30 Years of Speed event that we did. So anyway, that's enough about this photo. Here's a photo of Emmett. He's raising his hand. This is when the couch was calling us out before our race, introducing us. So Emmett, super good guy. If you ever have the chance to meet him, I highly recommend it. He's super chill, very, very nice. Also, he's very tall. Here's Cutie. So he was being introduced. And I'm really glad that Cutie was a part of this race. Funny story. I could talk about stuff way too long if I wanted to, so I'll try and summarize here. But so Cutie's been known by a few different names over the years. He used to go by Cordy, and I didn't realize that he had been around in Super Metroid community for as long as he has. He kind of disappeared for a few years, and then he came back. And when he disappeared, it was shortly after I entered the community. And so it's funny because he was around and then he disappeared and then he came back and he had a different name and I wouldn't have recognized him anyway. And I remember the first time I ever watched his stream, I, tuned into his stream and he's practicing like early game or something. And his movement was so freaking good. And I was like, dude, like, where did you come from? And he's like, oh, I've been playing Super Metroid for a long time. I just didn't play for a few years. And I was like, what? Anyway, so I'm really glad that Cutie was able to join this race. I'm sure it was a huge bucket list thing for him to be able to play Super Metroid on stage at GDQ. And I was really happy that he had that opportunity, and also I was really honored to be able to race him because he's a great guy. He's super, super good guy. So, there's me. We're just gonna pass on. Apparently I looked down when I raised my hand, so you can't see my face because my hat was in the way. But this is me raising my hand saying I'm Zeni, and they're calling me out. And then here's Oats. Also like waving, and if he had a hat, you wouldn't be able to see his face either, okay? So don't make fun of me, okay? But yeah, he's just waving, saying, hi, I'm Oats, whatever. Now, okay, I want you to pay attention. This is very important, okay? So, what do you notice? Or I guess you can't really see in this photo. Actually, maybe, I don't know. Okay, what do you notice here, here, and here? Does anybody notice anything weird? No, not left-handed. I mean, yes, but no, that's not it. I'm gonna go back. Okay. All right, nobody's caught on yet. Oh, Skoiko, yes, the chair. Okay. Cutie and I had racing gaming chairs, which by the way are not comfortable. Do not buy a racing gaming chair, okay? And here's Oats with his basic chair buff, okay? Why do you think he won the race? He had a basic chair, okay? You think it's because he's world record holder? No. He had a better chair than we did. You ever seen Behemoth's chair? Behemoth sits in like a normal, like wooden chair. No padding, no nothing. If you're serious about speedrunning, you sit in basic chair. Before the race, this chair was in my spot, and I actually sat down in it. And then Oates said something like, actually, yeah, I'll take that chair if that's okay. And I was like, sure, man, you're my friend. What's the worst thing that could happen? I should have kept the freaking chair. I would have won the race, dude. Never making that mistake again. Gosh. Anyway, this is our friend Kizaron. So again, these aren't in exact chronological order. I roughly organized them. This was before the race, like a couple hours before the race. He was on the couch in between runs doing like a prize segment or something. I don't know exactly. But the reason that I am showing this, there's two reasons. One, Keys is amazing. If you're not familiar with Kizaron, definitely go give him a follow. He's super, super nice guy. The other thing is the shirt. Yeah, so one sec. Kizaron. The shirt. Okay, so this shirt was actually, there's a couple things about this shirt. One, the design was drawn by Sassy for Zost and I when we did our SGDQ 2023 co-op run, okay? The design was drawn by Sassy, okay? And she did an amazing job, but she didn't feel comfortable coloring it. So we sent it to Emre to be colored. Emre is Keys' partner, okay? And we're super good friends with them. Emre did an amazing job coloring this. So, and then I guess the last piece is that Keys actually was going to be doing the pre-run interview with Zost and I last year at SGDQ 2023. and he got COVID like 12 hours before we were supposed to have our interview or something. So he was stuck in his room, but he was wearing this shirt last year. Like he was gonna wear it for the interview. Anyway, so it was really cool to me that, like, first of all, we got to say hi this year because we didn't get to see him last year. And second of all, that he would wear the shirt on the day of the race. Like, it just made me super happy. So, Keys, I don't know if you'll ever see this, but thanks for repping the shirt, dude, and thanks for being awesome. I really appreciate it. All right, this is a photo of me. Let's hang on. Sorry, one sec. Hang on. I need to shoot. I'm not using a cheater ROM. Okay. So anyway, this is a photo of me on stage, just playing Super Metroid, just the totally normal version of Super Metroid. Yeah. So. No, this was before the race. We were just warming up and getting capture set up and stuff. And I was in the practice ROM, obviously, because, I mean, what else was I going to do? So, yeah, we were just getting everything set up. Here's a selfie of me on stage, making a weird face, and I needed to shave, but I hadn't. Too bad. And there's Hockey being awesome in the background. And then here's me and Hockey again, just hanging out. This is another picture of Emmett, who again is super cool, super nice guy. So if you ever have the chance to meet him, you definitely should. Here's another picture of Cutie. We already talked about him and how awesome he is. I really love this picture. This picture is so good, dude. The only thing missing from this picture is Emmett. I wish Emmett was like right here. You know what I mean? But like this is it's so cool. It's such a good picture. So yeah, super cool. Let's see here. I like that they have my janky SD to SNES here. So, okay, little background story about this. Anytime people see this in person, they're like, wow, dude, what happened to your SD to SNES, right? When I got it, it was in the wrong cartridge style. I wanted it to be in the PAL/Japanese cartridge style, but I ordered it incorrectly. This is back in 2017. So what I ended up doing was I ordered just a shell, like a PAL shell, okay? But that didn't have a label, and I was like, I guess I can just like write it on there. And then I had a great idea. And you guys are probably laughing right now at how janky it looks, and then you're gonna feel like bad people because of this. My son was just learning how to write at the time, so I had him write the letters on it for me. He was 3, I think. He was 3 or 4 years old, and I had him write the letters on my cartridge for me. So, let me just say, like, every time I bring this anywhere, I actually have a little bit of anxiety that I'm gonna forget it, because like, it's literally like super sentimental for me, you know. So, anyway, that's why my cartridge looks all janky. Another picture of Cutie. This is a great photo for sure. This is Kano and Sassy. I think this is right after the run had finished. I'm not 100% sure on that. Here's a photo of Oats. Again, I just want to point out basic chair buff, okay? Just look at how comfortably he can sit in this chair. Like, clearly his legs are anchored on the ground. He has good support. He's able to like rest his arms on his legs in a comfortable way, you know. No wonder he frickin' won the race. Basic chair buff. Stupid, dude. Also, he like fell asleep in the middle of the race, so. Here's a photo of someone taking a photo of us. which I always like these kinds of photos. Super cool. Another photo of Cutie and Emmett and Cutie and Oats and me looking fat. I need to lose weight, guys. Every photo I saw of myself after the event, I was like, okay, I like seriously need to do something. I'm not like actually fat, and I get that, but especially pre-COVID to now, I've gained like 40 or 50 pounds. So I would just like to lose like 20 or 30. I just want to get rid of like some of this down here. Right? I just want to kind of like slim up this a little bit. Hopefully get rid of my gut, and that's about it. So I'm going to try to make that happen this year, but we'll see. Sorry, we just got a delivery, so. Okay, here is Eddie and hockey. Okay. And another photo of Oats and I playing, but the real focus of this photo, even though it's out of focus, is Eddie and hockey in the background being like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what was going on, but again, it's a great photo. This also, there's another thing that I really want to change, and I don't know how to do this. Yes, slow guy. So look at Oats' posture here. Like, it's clear that he has really good posture, okay? And I'm sure that took conscious effort at some point. And then look at my posture. I'm all like slumped over and stuff. And it's hard because I would love to have better posture, but at the same time, the reason that I sit the way that I do when I speedrun is because if I try and sit in any other way, I play worse. So, like, I don't know what to do about that, you know? It's frustrating. But skill issue for sure. Definitely. All right. Focus mode. I love shots like this. Super cool for sure. This photo makes me so angry. You know why? Look at it. Oats is such a photogenic dude. Like, I've always said he's a good-looking guy, and that's true. But you just look at this, you look at this photo and it's like, dude, no wonder he's the most popular Super Metroid streamer on Twitch. Like, people can show up to his stream and the only thing that would turn them away is how unhinged his chat is. If you can get past that, there's no reason to leave. He has amazing capture, he's a super funny dude, and he's attractive, okay? I'm not attracted to men. It's fine if people are, you know, anyway. But yeah, he's an attractive dude, and it makes me mad. So, yeah. I do have beautiful blue eyes, that's true. I have always liked my eyes, for sure. This is a shot of the crowd. So we got Kano and Sassy. Here's Twin being awesome. Violet's a little off screen here. And then we have Gameaholic and Zodin. And I don't recognize anybody else in this. So Zodin and Mrs. Zodin. Okay, nice. That's awesome. There's Cutie clapping, presumably after the race. Okay. Actually, this is a good opportunity to point something out here. So he's clapping, right? And you look at him and he's smiling. Like, you can tell he's not like forcing a smile here. I mean, sure, he has a little bit of a sinister look on his face, but you know, I mean, just wait, okay? But like, he's smiling, right? Okay, so after the race, Cutie was Cutie was talking to us, me and a couple other people, and he was saying how before the race, he was thinking like, dude, if I don't get at least a 42, I'm going to be super disappointed. And then during the race, when he had his Dragon fight, again, he was feeling like, oh man, like I'm going to be so disappointed. But he mentioned after the race, when we were talking about it, he was like, dude, by the end of the race, I was all smiles. Like, I was just so happy, you know? And that's kind of the cool thing about like marathon runs in general, but GDQ runs especially, I think. There's just something really special about them because things that would normally, like, okay, this isn't going to be a blanket statement, this doesn't apply to everyone, but like, if you were just playing the game, like doing PB attempts or doing no resets, practicing for a tournament or whatever, things that would normally like really piss you off, if you're in the right mindset at GDQ, it's fine. It's totally fine. And so yeah, like I'm really glad that he, you know, clearly by the end of the race, like he was all smiles, he was happy. He was happy with the experience. He was proud, you know, like, and he should be for sure. So, again, crowd, beautiful people that I love. And here's a shot of Oats and I and Eddie and Hockey. I like Eddie's face here. Nice expression there. I actually, you know what? I like this photo of me. I might grab this for something. I might grab this for like a profile picture or something. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. All right, so here's everybody on the, you know, front row for the race, and then of course the crowd. You know, it's interesting because GDQ, how do I express this? If you look at viewership, if you look at GDQ viewership, it's been down since 2020, okay? And oftentimes the room doesn't fill up, you know? Usually there's not actually that many people in these seats. But regardless of that, what's cool to me is that all of these people, maybe like 90%, 95% of them showed up for the Super Metroid race. You know what I mean? Like some of them were maybe waiting for the next run or just had nothing better to do. But I'd say like probably a good majority of these people showed up for the Super Metroid race. And that's really cool to me. Obviously, it's not, you know, full clear to the back like Peanut Butter's run or, you know, other stuff like that. But it's really cool to me to be part of a speedrun community that still has like a good amount of support behind it, you know? Even though I bet you there were maybe a handful of people in this crowd that hadn't seen a Super Metroid race before. Most people had probably seen one before. And they still decided, like, I want to see this, you know? So that's cool. That's cool to me, for sure. Here's another photo of Oats and I just waiting to start our runs. And Cutie and Emmett waiting to start their runs. This is a great photo. So Hockey and Eddie on commentary. I don't know what was going on, but I mean, just look at the enthusiasm of these guys. Like, it's so good. It's so good. I'm not wearing the same shirt right now, no. I was wearing my it's not over until Samus is on the ship shirt for the race. And then again, Hockey and Eddie And then, you know, you look at the crowd, and then look at this face, dude. What was that expression? What was going on with me, dude? You want to talk about sinister expressions? I was like ready to, I don't even know, dude. I don't know. I promise I wasn't wasn't having any sinister thoughts or anything. But yeah. All right. Another photo of our crowd. And Hockey and Eddie again being awesome on comms. And then I'm assuming this was at the end of the race because I don't think Oates would have taken his headphones off if not. And mine were still on. So my assumption, based on my grip and the fact that Oates' headphones are off, I was probably just starting the escape after Mother Brain. So yeah, pretty cool shot there. I don't Zodin pump in the escape. That's not a Zodin pump grip. That's a piano grip. This is a good photo. I like this photo a lot. But again, I mean, look at the posture difference, dude. Like, oh my heck. All right. Another shot of Emmett. This is me signing. This was actually really cool. So we came out of the stream room after the race, and there was somebody there. I can't quite read their badge name. I hadn't met them before, but they showed up with what was 4 disc plates, making this awesome art that we've talked about before. You know, my shirt and Hockey's shirt and whatever. And they wanted each racer to sign one of the disc plates. So this is me signing the top right disc plate, which is super cool. I like this photo a lot, which is funny because, like, if you've been watching me for any period of time, you should probably know by now that, like, I don't consider myself like this amazing person, this amazing runner, this amazing racer. I don't feel like I deserve like praise or anything like that. Like, I'm happy to sign stuff for people, but it's always a little weird for me when people are like, hey, will you sign this for me? I'm just kind of like, I mean, why do you want me to sign it? Like, I'm just whatever. But I was happy to do it. And I just really like the way that this picture turned out. So super cool. I did grab that already, Sassy. Unless it's a different one. I grabbed it from Twitter. Anyway. Okay, so this is me hugging Hockey immediately after the race. So something that I did, and you'll see this at the end of the watch back. So going into this race, my main focus, like, of course I wanted to win. Okay, it's a race. Like, of course I wanted to win. Who wouldn't, right? But my main focus was putting on a good show for people. I just really wanted the race to be entertaining for people, and I wanted all 4 of us runners to have a good time. A big part of having a good time when you're racing Super Metroid, at least in my opinion, is that how do I express this in a way that doesn't make me sound like some, like, anyway, I try really, really hard to be friendly to everyone in the community. I'm not perfect at that. It is not, Sassy. I unpacked everything the same day we got home. I'm not perfect at being friendly with everyone. Okay, there's definitely been times in the past where I butted heads with people in a pretty major way. People that have been around for a long time are probably aware of at least one situation where there was somebody in the community who did not get along with me, and therefore I didn't get along with them. But in general, I try to be as friendly and welcoming and accepting of people as I can be when I meet them. And I mean that in the Super Metroid community, but I mean it in the broader sense too. I haven't always been the most open person, and that's something that I've been working really hard to change the last 7 years since I started streaming. And I feel like I'm doing pretty good with that. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is, if you look at the past GDQ races, it's pretty clear that like the runners knew each other, and oftentimes they liked each other, but they weren't necessarily like friends, if that makes sense. Hey Keys, thank you so much for the raid, dude. The fat raid with 96 viewers. I showed a photo of you earlier and talked about how awesome you are. Thanks for everything, dude. But yeah, like to continue what I was saying, like I try really hard to be open and welcoming and accepting of people when I meet them, regardless of circumstances or whatever. And you know, I'm not perfect at that, nobody is, but if you look at the past GDQ Super Metroid races, yeah, I can send you the photos of us together, Keys. We actually haven't gone over those yet, but the runners in the previous races, like more often than not, I'd say like 95% of the time, there was no animosity between them or anything. But it was like it was more competition than friendly competition, if that makes sense. Okay, and over the years that's kind of led to this narrative from people where people kind of assume that like the top runners in Super Metroid don't get along. Okay, and the last 4 or 5 years I've been working really hard to dispel that weird assumption. Everybody knows I'm a Zost fanboy, okay? And so I like it shouldn't be surprising to anybody when they find out that Zost and I are friends, like close friends. We met through Super Metroid, to be clear. But I consider Zost to be one of my best friends that I've ever had, definitely. But like there's like memes about how Zost and Oats hate each other, and they don't, you know. And there was some how do I put this? There was some distrust with Behemoth after he, you know, pulled a Behemoth or whatever and debuted New Route back in 2014. Like most people were just super impressed and like, wow, this is so cool, whatever. But there are a couple people that it kind of rubbed them the wrong way. And I can understand both points of view. But again, sorry to kind of, I'm like taking forever to get to the point here. So this is a picture of me and Hockey hugging. And again, at the end of the race, when we do the watch back, you'll see I made it a point after we all finished, to get up and hug everybody on stage. And I did that, one, because we are friends and I love them, and I wanted to hug them because I was so proud of us for what we did. But I also was really hoping that that would be on camera because, again, I just really want to dispel this idea that we're like enemies, because we're not. Oates is literally like also one of the best friends I've ever had. Anyway, so yeah, this is me and Hockey hugging. There's a different view of us hugging, and then this is us clapping. I think this is right after Emmett finished. Not 100% sure, but we're all clapping. You know, we're just happy that the race went well. Hi kitty, what's up? Do you want to say hi? Come here. Say hi. No? You done meowing? Okay. I put her down, she meows again. The crowd is standing, cheering. So yeah, we definitely finished the race. Hockey and Eddie hugging. I'll talk about that during the watch back. Something that Hockey said. Them sitting together. And then after the race, I made it a point to take selfies with a bunch of people. So here is evidence that Oates and I are friends at GDQ. Even though after we get back, he always makes it a point to start making fun of me and stuff again. Like, we're friends, okay? Just look. Evidence. We're friends. We're smiling. We got a selfie together. This is the third or fourth time I've had a selfie with Oates, okay? Yeah. We're friends, okay? More on that in a minute. This is me signing. They had a wall that they wanted all the runners to sign, so this is me signing the wall. This is everybody that got in the group photo for Super Metroid, and that's great. You know, it's a pretty big crowd, but I need to say something. There were a lot of people standing off to the side when this photo was taken, and like probably at least as many as are in this photo. If you happened to be one of those people that was standing off to the side and like you didn't come and get in the photo for whatever reason, whether you wanted to be in the photo or not, you were welcome in the photo. Okay, so if you're ever at like another GDQ for Super Metroid or whatever, like, you are welcome in the photo. You belong with us. You don't need to feel awkward. You don't need to feel like nobody knows me. You know, maybe you're a lurker and so nobody knows your name. Like, anyway, really good photo here. This is a photo. I'm gonna skip the song because vibes. Sure, whatever. This is a photo of all the runners and commentary. I thought it was really interesting. I ended up in the center of this one and this one. I mean, this one makes a little more sense, but like, it's just kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know. People sometimes talk about how do I say this? I don't like being the center of attention, okay? And that's weird because I've been on GDQ stage 4 times, 3 runs, 1 commentary. I have world records in this game. I stream a lot. You know, I have people watching me all the time. So like, it's weird that like, I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't like being the center of attention. But it is what it is, you know? So, this is a blurry selfie of me and Eddie, and then me and Emmett, and me and Cutie, and me and Zoden, and me and Hockey, and me and Keys. Made it a point to have a chat with Keys before we left. Almost didn't get a chance. We were up in our room after everything was said and done, and like I could have fallen asleep, but I was like, wait, I haven't seen Keys yet. Like we saw earlier in the event, but I wanted to see him after the race and have a chance to say goodbye. So we met up and we got a selfie and it was great. This is us at dinner. This restaurant was super expensive, but the food was really good. We had a bunch of people. So this is everybody at our table, but then there was this other table back here, which you can see Oats right here. And then there's another table over here. So we had a bunch of people at dinner. Yeah, Zodin, shoot me a message on Discord so I don't forget. And I'll just reply with it when I see it. Thanks. This is me and Slay. And I think this is Slay's partner. I'm sorry if it's not. There are a lot of people that wanted photos. This is me and Poplars. And this is me and Fortify. And me and Metroid Master. He comes in here sometimes. Okay. This is the end of the photo album. So this is a screenshot of a message that I posted in Discord, in Oats community Discord, after the fact. I'm just going to read it out loud here for anybody who can't see the text because they're on mobile or whatever. So I said, hello, Oats community friends. Some of you may have heard of the fabled friendship contract over the years between Oats and I. Let it be known that I have updated it and delivered it to Oats while we were attending GDQ together. He has agreed to review it with his lawyer prior to signing, but I have high confidence that it is fair to all parties involved. In accordance with the friendship contract, I have congratulated him on his prestigious win of one Summer Games Done Quick 2024 Any Percent race that we both participated in. Let it be known I am truly happy for Oats' victorious playing, and the crushing defeat of me and the other runners does not dampen our friendship at all in my eyes. Just in case any of you don't believe in this fabled friendship contract, I am sharing evidence here for your review. Cordially, Shiny. So here is a picture of Oats reviewing the friendship contract that I delivered to him in person at GDQ. You can see he's taking this very seriously. He put his spectacles on to make sure that he could read it appropriately and understand it. And you can tell by the expression on his face, he is focusing intently on understanding the context of the content of said contract. Okay. And then I also just I figured I would share it here as well. So. Contract of friendship. This contract of friendship contract is entered into on this 4th day of July, 2024, between Shiny Zeni, hereinafter referred to as Shiny, and Oats and Goats, hereinafter referred to as Oats. Duration and scope. This contract shall commence on the date first written above and shall continue indefinitely until terminated by mutual agreement or as otherwise specified herein. Agreements upon which friendship will continue. Shiny and Oats agree to uphold the following principles throughout their friendship: mutual respect and support for each other's endeavors, both on and off Twitch, open and honest communication to resolve any disagreements or misunderstandings promptly, celebration of each other's successes and providing constructive feedback when requested, maintaining confidentiality of private matters discussed between them, spending time together to strengthen their bond of friendship while both are attending public events. Hosting agreement. Both parties agree to support each other by hosting their respective Twitch channels during live streams, provided the following conditions are met. The hosting is done voluntarily and without any obligation, and the frequency and duration of hosting are at the discretion of each streamer. Each party will make a reasonable effort to reciprocate hosting when feasible. Race results. In the event that Shiny and Oats participate in competitive races or challenges, speedruns of Super Metroid, The winner of each race will be determined based on the officially recognized rules and timing methods. The loser of the race agrees to acknowledge the winner's achievement and congratulate them. No hard feelings will be held over the outcome of any race or challenge. World records in Super Metroid speedruns. Regarding world records in Super Metroid speedruns for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, both parties acknowledge that pursuit of world records is competitive and respects each other's skill and dedication. The holder of the world record at any given time is entitled to retain the record until it is broken by another. In the event that one party breaks a world record held by the other, both parties agree to celebrate the achievement and acknowledge the new record holder. The former record holder retains the right to attempt to reclaim the world record according to fair competition rules. Termination. Either party may terminate this contract of friendship at any time by providing written notice to the other party. Termination shall be effective immediately upon receipt of such notice, except as otherwise mutually agreed. Additionally, this contract may be terminated immediately by Shiny if Oats engages in bullying behavior towards Shiny. Bullying behavior includes, but is not limited to, verbal abuse, harassment, or any actions intended to harm Shiny's reputation or emotional well-being. Miscellaneous. This contract constitutes the entire agreement between Shiny and Oats concerning their friendship and supersedes any prior agreements or understandings, whether written or oral. Beastworm, thank you so much for the tier 3 51 months. Seriously, thank you so much. Any amendments or modifications to this contract must be made in writing and signed by both parties. In witness whereof, the parties hereto have executed this contract as of the first date written above. And then there's spots for signatures and a date. Now, unfortunately, I regret to inform you guys, the copy that I gave to Oats was signed by me, but he has not returned his own signed copy. So this contract is not in place as of now because he has not agreed to the terms. But this is what I served him. This is what I served him at GDQ. So apparently I need to go look for my father's glasses. I'll do that in just a minute. Thank you for letting me know, Sassy. Just wrapping up here. So this is a photo of Kano and I at the airport. He was actually right about to board his plane, and then he's like, "Wait, Zeni, we need to get a photo," because we hadn't taken a selfie together the whole time. So that was great. It was really good spending time with Kano. He's a super good friend of mine. And then yeah, this is me after I got home. That's my badge, and I was just basically saying I'm home, and it was a great experience, and I'm happy I was able to do that. So. Okay, so here we go. This is the SGDQ 2024 any percent race. We're just going to do a watch back and I'll talk about it.
And of course, for the rest of today. And with that, I'd like you to suit up and lock in because it's time to join runners Shiny Zeni, Ark, Oats and Goats, and Ibbot for an any percent race of Super Metroid. Good luck, racers.
Let me know how the audio balance is, if I should turn the GDQ video down at all, or if it's good or whatever.
Join me at GDQ and Super Metroid community when I say good.
Freaking hockey, dude. You see my shaking my head.
Super Metroid fans. Woo! Woo! Hello, at GDQ 2024. I am the Hockey Towner, joined by Eddie, commentators extraordinaire. We have an amazing Super Metroid any percent race right here with 4 of the most amazing speedrunners you've ever laid your little eyes on. Starting all the way from my left, we've got the quiet.
Hang on, I need to check
the
something.
Stylin', the profiling.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at the camera very much.
Super Metroid
the first time I watched this.
Woo! Woo! Hello, at GDQ 2024. I am
Dude, the body language between
commentators extraordinaire. We have an amazing
Oats and I
Super Metroid any
and Cutie and Emmett
right here with 4 of the most amazing
look at Cutie.
you've ever laid your little eyes on. Starting all the way from
the
my
nerves,
left,
dude.
the quiet
Like Oates and I are pretty chill. Like we've done this before, whatever. But like
we have an amazing Super Metroid any percent race right here with 4
deep
of the
breath.
most amazing speedrunners
Okay,
you've ever laid your little eyes
it's
on.
gonna be okay, cutie. I
Starting
promise.
all the way from my left, we've got the quiet professional, the stylin', the profilin', the one-round fan tune maining Emmett. Let's go, Emmett.
I like how hockey preemptively commentators cursed Emmett not to get a 1 round.
Next up, we have who can only be described as the titan.
What
of
a
technical
jerk,
acumen,
dude.
A real cutie.
Look at my man boobs.
No strangers.
I need to lose
you
weight,
GDQ
guys.
fans. Holding simultaneous world records in 100% and reverse boss order, we've got Shiny Zeni. And last, but certainly not least, we have the current world record holder in Super Metroid any percent, Oates and Goats. What do you say, Eddie? What do you say we kick this off?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to kick this off right now. So without further ado, I think we can get started. So, with that being said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
So one thing you'll notice is all of us had
All right,
one
Hockey.
of
Yeah,
the
super
ears
excited to
off.
see 4 of these amazing
at the
runners to
start.
Get off,
These headphones that they had us wearing
some of these players
were
doing moonfall right at the beginning,
noise
so
canceling
I'll
headphones,
follow that a little
okay?
faster,
So all they had coming through into them was the game audio. We didn't have commentator audio coming in, which is how we requested it. But also, because these weren't the normal headsets with the mics, we couldn't hear the way that we were like pressing buttons on our controller, for example, which this may surprise you, but that's actually very important for me.
That's all we wanted.
Being able to hear the way that I press the button is very important to the way that I play the game. And I couldn't hear any of that throughout this run. So I knew that there was going to be some stuff that was a little rough because of it. Initially, when they had us practicing, they had the other headsets that we were using. So not only could I not hear myself, but I didn't have opportunity to try and practice in that situation either. So that was, I mean, it was unfortunate, but it was what it was. Right off the bat, you'll notice that Oates and Cutie are pretty much tied, and Emmett and I are pretty much tied. Both Emmett and I messed up the series Moonfall and made similar mistakes on the escape as well. So that was kind of cool how like we split off there at the very beginning. I thought that was cool.
Holding a little screwdriver in his hand to scrape like a little better grip, but yeah, you know, anything to save the frames. That's what matters, right? So another way you can save frames is by not saving the animals too.
That's true, yeah. How's that donation instead of doing, Char?
Oh, it's still pretty spicy. Save the Animals is still the lead with $31,000. Kill the Animals is at $25,000. But
I'm glad that video was helpful for you. Welcome again to the community. Spell. I have a lot of other tutorials on my YouTube too, so feel free to check those out. All right, so again, I mean, you know, you've seen the beginning of Super Metroid races hundreds of times probably, so pretty straightforward stuff here. But
we talked about that moonfall earlier. All these players were wanting to moonfall down this climb shaft. As you can see, they're basically uncapping their fall speed so they fly down as fast as possible. If you don't have moonfall on, then it's going to take 4 more seconds to do that. And basically, 4 seconds at this stage, if these players at this caliber, if they lose 4 seconds, they might actually consider resetting if they're trying to go for a personal best.
Super tough.
One thing that I will say is Hockey and Eddie absolutely crushed this commentary. They did so good.
The morph ball and those first misses. Wait my whole life to hear that.
Yeah, we're going to see Zeni try to do a little technique. He's actually not going to wall jump off this pillar. Let's see if he could swing back. Nope, doesn't quite land on there. There's very small optimization at every stage of the game. I could go on
So it's
forever
interesting because at this point, I'm already in last place, right? I wasn't 100% sure on that, but I had a feeling that I was probably in last place at this point.
Wake up the whole world and
Oats and I could not, well,
okay.
okay, I couldn't really see Cutie or Emmett their screens. The viewpoint that I had, I could see myself in Oats. Like I could see his screen physically next to me, but also there was like a projector monitor up above us, and I could see
from this point on, these rooms are
what could I see on there? I don't even remember what I could see.
Just at the beginning of the game, you're going to see
but I had a hunch that I was in last place at this point, and I was like, okay, I gotta tighten this up. So I kind of focused up.
Yeah,
and
right
I passed up Emmett there.
It's very technical at this point.
All right side wall jump.
Had a little bit of nerves at climb, just a little bit, which you saw right there. But the rest of it went pretty well, which is good.
Let's go.
Clean.
So clean.
All right. This room we call it the parlor. It's another technical room, lots of jumping, vertical climbing, and do a combination of wall jumps and just ledge grabs and jumping as fast as possible. It looks like clean throughout the board.
Yeah, this is looking terrific so far as we head into Bomb Turizo. There's so much
I almost missed that missile on
so
the door.
much hitbox manipulation. You love it. You love to see it. But yeah, they got the morph ball bombs. First mid boss.
And then
game, Eddie.
Something that a lot of people don't realize, the drops that BT gives you from what he spits out can really set pace at the beginning of a run, especially in a race setting. So I was really hoping for a good BT here.
Animation, Eddie. Of course we do.
Absolutely. So all these players, Bomb Turizo has 800
and I got
HP.
exactly what I wanted, which put me pretty much in sync with Oats.
And finish him off.
Yep. And we were just behind Cutie there, which I also thought was super cool. One of the coolest things about this race is that there are so many like lead and pacing changes throughout most of the run. Like it really just it kept people on their toes, I think, not knowing what might happen.
That does not have full missiles. You do really want to make sure you have full missiles.
So I pulled ahead of Oats there because of our missile counts.
He recovered to get those missiles. He also doesn't want to take a hit here.
And also he dodges to avoid that waiver there, which lost him a little more time as well.
So close.
All right. Now, the reason why that matters is because all these players want to be leaving with at least 2 missiles. That's because they need 5 missiles to open up a red door to do a trick known as early supers. That lets us get super missiles out of sequence. Now, if they don't have full health, they
Emmett's
have to rely
capture
on
was
RNG
really
on
dark.
bugs
I didn't
below
realize that
to get
before.
the 5 missiles to open the door. So, as you can
Compared
see,
to everyone
this
else,
a
I wonder
strat
why
where
that
if you
is.
mess it up, you shoot 2 P shots and 1 missile to kill 2 bugs, and you get 4 missiles back. And the math works out perfectly. So let's see. Cutie's first up and gets it. Opens that door quickly.
From Cutie. Oh, Oats with a little misfire there, but Cutie straight across. So underneath those gates, they intend to have speed booster, but he keeps that.
So I KO the waiver there, which just sucks. That's one of the worst mistakes you can make in early game. Is KOing that waiver. Because not only is it slow because you miss the deboost, but you take extra damage because of it. Because most of the time you're going to hit a hopper too.
Really difficult. If you guys don't know what a mock ball is, essentially, it's
in a PB attempt, the extra damage isn't that big of a deal, but in a race it really is. Because in a race you're prioritizing having as safe of a Fantoon fight as you possibly can, which means conserving as much energy as you possibly can. So when I bonked that hopper, I was pretty bummed by that, but I got decent drops to bring my energy back up.
Going to the wreck ship instead of fighting Kraid first, and that's going to enable them to grab the gravity suit.
I feel like I need to turn this down more, so I'm turning it down more.
Yes, it's definitely way
But
faster.
just let me know.
Everything is
Let me know
so
if I need
much
to
more dangerous.
turn it back up again.
You're fighting bosses out of sequence, things that are you're expected to have way
Hey,
more
Secret,
way
thank
more
you.
everything, way more equipment. So the scary part of this is you're going to see
I got up in 2, and now I am in the lead, which is really cool. It's really cool to me that in the first 8 minutes of the game, I went from last to first.
More than, let's say, 130 HP.
Like, it just really speaks to
They could be dead. That could be the end of the run. So
anything can happen in a Super Metroid race, which is why that saying, it's not over until Samus is on the ship,
Going up And we're
is
going to
so,
do a sequence
like,
of
it's so
wall jumps that
accurate.
is difficult, and we have to weave through these rippers. And we're gonna go ahead.
So I
and
mess
grab
up
our
red tower
power
here.
boost.
My D-pad decided to auto-morph me, which really sucks.
Zeni with a little bit of misfire. Looking for that hero shot.
And then
Plus those boxes gotta
my
have
backup
down,
didn't
but
work,
nice
so I had
hits.
to do the backup
Zeni
of
as
the
well.
backup. But
Look
thankfully I
this.
got up at that
Into the
point.
hellway.
But I knew that I
Doesn't
lost a
matter.
lot of
He's
time
gonna
right
save the
there.
leaders
So
there.
my lead, unfortunately, was very short-lived because of that.
Excellent. Now they're gonna grab their first and
I blame the
only
D-pad.
power bomb pack. It's really just
You know what? I blame Eddie.
opening,
Eddie,
doors. Wouldn't you say, Eddie? What else
on
do you have
commentary,
for?
probably
Something,
cursed
you know,
me
to use power bombs
because of his
for.
cheater
It is going to be
hitbox.
for X-Factor
What a
strats
jerk,
online, but
dude.
That's what I mean when we're at a lower north there and dealing with
Of
Ridley.
course,
So
the special beam combination. We'll be seeing that later. But
All right.
This is the gatekeeper, literally, isn't it, Eddie?
So right about
now, we're
here,
getting into a tense moment.
I was
This is
thinking,
probably
okay,
the
we're
first
coming up
really
on moat,
dangerous spot
and I
of
was
the game.
trying
It's
really
actually
hard
just
not to get in
the
my head
water
about
of
it.
the moat.
Um,
Now, the reason why this is dangerous.
I'm gonna
is you
pause
get
here for a
across, you
second.
get either-
So, couple things about moat. Okay, first of all, we're all playing on LCDs. All right, we're not playing on CRTs. So there's a little bit of a concern of input lag. The setups that we were playing on, in theory, should have been less than a frame of input lag, which is good. They felt very responsive. The displays, however, were blurry. Not horrible, but they were definitely more blurry than a CRT, which I'll mention again later in the run. But I mentioned also, I mentioned that I couldn't hear the way that I was pressing buttons on the controller, right? And that's actually really important for my moat. If I get CWJ, if I get the jump for CWJ during the fanfare, I actually, and this, like, okay, from like a scientific standpoint, this doesn't do anything, and I want to make that absolutely clear. But from a mental standpoint, I kind of go through this motion of like preparing myself for the jump frame for CWJ. And the way that I do that is I tap the jump button in accordance with the fanfare. Okay, so if you're ever watching me do PB attempts, you know, the fanfare is like da na 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 na, and I'll be tapping my button that whole time. Is da na 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 na. Okay, so I do those extra taps after the fanfare, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, to kind of like prepare myself for the fanfare hitbox to disappear. I watch for it to disappear, but beyond that, I don't have a good like visual cue for when to do CWJ outside of like, okay, the box is disappearing, and based on, you know, rough timing, like I should probably jump around this point, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But because of the headphones that we were wearing, I couldn't hear myself tapping on the controller, right? So it was all based on feel, and I was really worried that I was going to fall in the moat. Almost to the point that I thought, you know, maybe I should just back up to the horizontal bomb jump. But if I'm being honest, the HBJ wasn't going very well for me either leading up to the race. So I was just like, you know, I just got to hope for the best here. So Oates ends up in moat first, but I'm like right behind him, okay? And I know I'm right behind him. And I look over and I see that he got the right jump. And he gets it. I'm like, oh, dude, I got to get this. And then I do get it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I was so glad. I was like, okay, we're in there. Like,
Zeni and Oates
oof.
continue as well jump across the moat. Woo! Let's go.
But right after I get it,
Next ship.
I want to show you. So,
Looks pretty good.
like, look at me.
Zeni has to jump as well.
So yeah, like I'm nodding to the rhythm, but also I get it,
Let's get the cross.
and then I'm like, yeah, okay, we're good. Like we're good. So, that was definitely a really cool moment in this race. the fact that
Go.
Oates and I got CWJ one right after the other, and then Cutie and Emmett both got horizontal bomb jumps one right after the other. Like, there's so many things like that in this race that just lined up like perfectly in terms of like a viewer experience. There were so many different things showcased in this race about how any percent runs go. It was just beautiful. Just the way that it all came together was just absolutely beautiful.
But it doesn't
So-
matter who you are. There are days where you just cannot get across that moat,
can't.
and you lose minutes, or even.
But then you're rewarded from crossing the moat with the next big roadblock.
All right,
of
so
round,
the next
which
thing
is
is,
Boss Fantoon.
of course, you know, we wanted a one-round Fantoon. I couldn't hear my buttons, so I knew that the chances of me getting a one-round were pretty slim.
If they get the ammo,
Oates doesn't go for one rounds on any pattern except for, I think,
not a good Doppler.
left slow or something.
Doppler. Look at Zeni though.
And then I didn't have enough missiles to go for it.
Very nice.
So I was like, well, there goes that.
Doppler to connect either on the second round. Cutie and Emmett starting off their first patterns now.
Okay, so here we go. There's so many Fantoon patterns on the. Ooh,
And then Oates gets a bad pattern, and I get a bad pattern.
Definitely get a 2-round here.
And Fantoon not being.
And I am not quite able to finish off on the second round, unfortunately.
Everyone having some trouble on Fantoon. It looks like Oates get a fast reappear. So I think
But
Oates
the
will
way
get
that
first
this worked
position
out,
right
Oates
here.
and I
Zeni
kill
should be
Fantoon,
shortly
like,
behind.
again, one right after the other.
There we go.
Which is so cool. Like, just the way that everything worked out, it was so cool.
Ooh, 48 for Cutie.
He still has the ability to take one more hit.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
So here I'm thinking, okay,
Let Fantoon potentially go off screen
I
here.
still have a pretty good shot at, like, putting on a good show here. Like, I haven't fallen super behind me and Oates.
Very patient.
Okay, Sassy, thank you.
All right, so all 4 players getting
I haven't fallen super far behind Oates. So I'm like, I'm in a pretty good spot to put on a good show,
Things often
right?
don't go the way that you want.
And
There's just so
I was
much
like, do I do the
strategy.
D-boost here? And I was like, in the interest of safety,
So tight, 'cause if you
I
miss it,
probably
it
shouldn't.
disappears off screen.
So the thing about wrecked ship and any percent is you can go a little faster if you take damage, but if you take damage, bowling becomes much scarier, much more scary. So I was trying really hard not to take any damage here.
Wouldn't you say, Eddie?
Yeah, definitely. You know, one thing I'm going to say about ammo-wise, everyone else looks pretty good on the power bombs. However, Oates, there's this one power bomb he has to use right now, and he's going to have to get some more later because...
This was a
there's
pretty
lot
good
of
attic,
opportunities,
but I screwed up the
especially when
end.
you do X-Factor strats.
Not too
Down the line,
bad
we'll
though.
talk about that more
Just
later.
I lost like
Everyone's
1 to
ammo
2
is
seconds there.
actually
Not a
looking
huge
quite
deal.
good. The only thing I would say is Oates' power bomb count is quite bad. That means he's going to have to use some strategies to maybe farm some power bombs on his way to Upper Norfair.
No, for sure. But Cutie and Emmett taking 10 and 9 into the end, it's absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, it's
And then here I'm like, okay, we're entering bowling.
Supers and regular missiles.
Oates wishes he grabbed that power bomb right there. That
And I was trying to decide, I'm like, do I go for the D
So, Oates is
boost?
going to get through this bowling sequence. Now, this is really
We can take
dangerous
3
for
hits since we
All
have
this
full
place is
energy.
for 60. Meaning, if you don't have at least
So we ended up
121
okay.
HP and you take 2 hits, you're going to die.
I actually
Yeah,
died in
jumping
bowling.
is not gonna- But Zeni and Oates both
like,
making it across, and we're gonna see
2 practice runs
not
before
the third
this.
hit. Sometimes you have a full HP.
It was the only time that I died in bowling the whole time that we were at GDQ.
It
was like-
looks like Cutie's across
It was like the
front.
morning that we were supposed to go on stage. I died at
Well,
bowling.
you
I was like,
got
gosh
it. We
dang
have
it.
$200 from
Um,
Timothy Duck. Hey, QTY, yeah.
The other thing
That
is,
something
I have
wanna
died
say.
at
I see
bowling
while your controller looks really
in
good.
races, in race settings, more than once.
Also, good luck to Zeni
So
and the other guys.
even though it's not something that's super stressful for me in a normal like PB attempt run setting, I get really in my head about bowling in races just because if you die there, it's just like, well, GG, like that's it pretty much, you know. So
and commentators and also Emmett. I love you so much,
unfortunately, I
and I'm
messed
so,
up this
so
D
proud
boost
of you.
here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Not a
We
huge
also
deal,
have
but
$100 from Lifetime.
time
One
lost for
says,
sure.
"Don't forget about
So
Mario."
Oates starts to pull ahead here,
People are not forgetting about Mario, $78,000
which
out of the
you know
$125,000
he absolutely deserves. He
back
he
game.
played better than I did.
The way there.
For
Come
sure.
On, Chad. Come on, SGDQ. We got to get that super incentive bet. Troll level race. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
But look at that! Look at that hot new paint job that Samus has got on her armor there. Eddie, what's that all about?
Yeah, nice gravity suit. That's going to allow us to kind of get through that water very quickly without having any sluggish movement. But it's also going to do heat protection because the game doesn't expect you to actually get gravity before Varia. So the other thing is we're going to take 25% reduced damage on everything that we hit. So what that means is as we head over to Upper Norfair, everything is actually just kind of a joke.
That D-boost is so hard, dude.
Nothing's gonna really threaten us at this point, but that doesn't mean that Upper Norfair is not chock full of difficult movement. To get across, this is a spot where if you're a speedrunner, you could absolutely lose a lot of time. I will say that Oates had to go and kill that frog real quick because he had 0 power bombs.
I made a lot of mistakes there.
The question is he gonna use
So
the power bomb
it's
to
funny because
break
this was like an
and
opportunity
also
for me to
they
catch
have
up to
access.
to Oates
First,
a
we're gonna
little
grab
bit
that phaser to get that
because he
extra
had to
damage.
do
One
some
of the
extra
brain
farms
man
and stuff
Ridley.
that I didn't
If
have to
anyone's
do.
wondering why we don't get the plasma
But
beam
I just made
fall out of the
mistakes.
way.
So we ended up like roughly the same in terms of pacing comparatively.
Shout out to Seppi.
All right, Oates and Zeni neck and neck here, but Cutie and
yeah.
Emmett not far behind
Cutie and Emmett are right on their heels, Eddie.
All right, so Oates is probably going to go ahead and use this power bomb right. Oh, is he?
So
It's
Oates
not.
decides not to use his power bomb on this tube here.
Yeah,
All right.
smart.
Now, what I will say is every other person will be
which-
breaking the tube here. It is theoretically a little bit faster to use the power bomb when you're leaving the high jump boots room. So that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna see
So
on the tube.
like
So
Eddie
after
just
we're
said,
breaking
I think he
here.
decided to save it
Yeah, I think we,
because it's
maybe-
theoretically a
I think we
little
have time for a
faster.
few donations,
I would have
so
used it on the
that's
tube because I would have
for
forgotten.
Absolutely.
But,
We had a
but yeah.
$1,500 donation from Zoid.
All right, so here's something interesting. Anybody that was watching me prepare for this race, for sure saw me pick up an extra missile pack here in high jump. And prior to this race, I decided that I would pick up these missiles depending on my relative pace to the other runners in the race. I decided that since I was only roughly one fanfare behind Oates, and that I was ahead of both Cutie and Emmett, I wanted to show picking up this missile pack. If for no other reason than to just be like, look, guys, like this is an option. If you haven't been running Super Metroid and you're wondering, like, you can pick up extra missiles, So I went ahead and did that, which obviously put me further behind Oates.
The Super Graduate community.
What I thought was interesting was that unless I missed it, Eddie and Hockey didn't call that out at all, which is fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
But
everyone says their speedrun community is the best. This is our speedrun community. So, a couple items picked up.
Yes.
High jump boots. And now another beam.
Yep.
Ice beam.
Yes, we got the ice beam. So that's going to let us do a few things. Namely, we're going to have a little bit more damage. It's going to let us do a Zeb skip down the line. But we definitely want to get that ice to do this ice escape as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a tight trick to get that quick mock ball retainer run speed to make it through the gates from the reverse.
Now, Eddie, I gotta rub my eyes a little bit here. Cutie is gaining on Zeni like nobody's business.
so I thought this was interesting that he was like, I gotta rub my eyes a little bit here. Like Cutie is gaining on Zeni. In reality, like Cutie was catching up to me because I took the extra missile packs. Not that Cutie wasn't playing well. He was. We were both playing, fairly well at this point of the run. But
Right? But you pick up the Super Metro controller for the first time, you try to play this game, you're going to be like, what is going on? Is my controller busted? It doesn't make any sense. We're going to see Oates try to get up this bubble mountain. He's going for the right side.
Oh, wow.
because the
Wow.
ones outside Speed Booster are slower.
Ooh, let's go. Beautiful execution. You want to talk about focus and
I think you asked
execution,
that
my
previously,
goodness.
and we answered it already.
Only in Super
So here I
Metroid,
decided to
you're
do
gonna
left
see
side
that
bubble
traditional strat where
mountain.
you just-
You'll notice I don't do left side bubble mountain in any percent. I always go for right side when I'm like the whole time leading up to GDQ. I've been doing right side the whole time. Anyway, I did left side here, and the reason is, after arriving at GDQ, I did a lot of practice. I missed right side bubble mountain 100% of the time in practice. So a couple hours before the race, I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to do left side. And I'm glad I did, because left side allows you to do this D-boost off this waiver,
kind of gain speed from the left side, but
and
only in
also
Super
allows you
Metroid
to do
can
this,
pop
which
off.
nobody called out.
Oates does simply a wall jump.
Frickin'
That's the way
uppercut,
to the
dude.
wall, but
I got
to
the
be
uppercut.
perfectly honest, that's a really
Nobody
difficult
said
wall jump.
anything.
It's easy to just lose tons of time if you miss it.
It's okay, though.
You're gonna see Zeni employing some more.
The issue with the missiles outside speed booster is not the fact that it's a
nails
one
across
tile
the
gap.
L and R buttons,
It's just it's slower. It's slower than grabbing the ones outside high jump.
But it's okay.
So.
Right.
And Oates, his resources, 9 supers. That's
good.
incredibly good. Now, for the purposes of a race, we'll probably see him maybe farm a little bit more. Yeah, and that's going to be it. So you definitely don't want to have maybe less than, say, 7 supers-ish leaving. So we're going to probably see Zeni potentially farm a little bit more than Oates, but we'll see the others.
I think you'll see more farming out of Cutie.
Yes.
But Emmett
So I do
has resources.
Oh, yeah.
You might be able to
3
wait
farms
one
there.
farm or even skip the farms entirely.
I was really hoping for a couple more supers,
These missiles that we're going to see right
but
now from
I
Oates,
got enough.
technically optional, but for race purposes, you get those missiles.
I briefly considered skipping these just to debated the couch and stuff, but I decided to grab them.
And you're barely really losing time by grading those missiles in the first place. It's like a hyper to skip those missiles.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to see all these runners probably pick that up.
Oh, nice bat cave from Emmett. Very nice room. But completing the beam combo is the wave beam, so that is the PRKD full beam combination.
All right, and then coming up here, you're gonna see something else too.
I think Plasma's better.
That's a little bit better, but it's just too far out of the house. We can't get it. I'm sorry.
Too far.
So if you look at Oates, he's running through this lava,
We're getting ready to.
Oh yeah. I might need to hold
like
my
pretty
breath here.
standard stuff.
All right,
If
so
you look at
first big
me,
trick, well, I mean, there's been a lot of
I
big
actually
tricks, but
pause
we're
here.
gonna see the
This is a
effects
very
of lava
new
spark.
strat
We're gonna see
change.
Oates store short charge,
I switched my beams off
boost,
here
and have enough time
for 2
to
reasons.
spark up. We'll see if
One,
we
when
can
I
nail
timed it, it actually
full
ended up
short
faster.
to
I
nail
don't
this
understand
category.
that
All 4 runners are gonna go
math.
for
It doesn't make sense. But 2,
Here we go.
if you have just wave beam entering this next room, you can make this next room way faster.
This is a much easier backup. However,
So,
it is slower, and we're gonna see if Zeni is going to go. For
I needed an extra power bomb, so I couldn't do the super fast strat, but I still felt really good about that room.
So vital. But here's
And then this happens.
You know what? It's not the worst because
Which, that sucks, but also it gave
okay,
Cutie
right,
the
so
opportunity
he's just
to
gonna grab
nail
the
it
and Cutie
and
yes,
nails it.
a lead change there. So he's not ahead of Oates,
second place now, Eddie.
but he overtook me just because he didn't mess that up, which is super cool. Like in terms of race hype, that is awesome. Again, like this race, from like an outside perspective, looking at this race and like how it all came together and stuff, it was so cool. It was just really, really cool. It was just so much showcasing. It's really cool. So I'm right behind Cutie here, and I'm like, okay, I can catch up. We're good. We're good. So Cutie gets his fast pillars. I get fast pillars. I'm like, okay, I gotta be real careful here. All right. So here's something that I'm gonna point out. I talked about this. Yo, Zost.
Oh, crap.
Thank you so much for the raid, Zost. I really, really appreciate that. We're doing a watch back of the SGDQ race right now. And then after that, I'm going to do some any percent. I'm going to finish up practice and then do a couple of runs, I think. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have and stuff. But thank you so much for the raid and for the resub. I really, really appreciate that, dude. Thank you. So I just entered worst room in the game here, and I want to point something out. So there were 2 things that were really difficult about playing on these monitors that they had us playing on at GDQ. One, they were blurry because they're LCDs, they're not CRTs. So anytime that there's motion, like screen scrolling or anything like that, things get really blurry and it's hard to see visual cues, okay? The other thing is the brightness was on point, except for when power bombs would go off. When power bombs would go off, they were super bright and you could not see anything, okay? So I lay my power bomb here and then I jump up to line up with my visual cue here on the wall, which, there's these cracks in the wall. On screen, you can see at this point, like you can see the cracks in the wall. They were not that visible on the monitor for my eyes looking. I think at this point they were barely visible. So I'm just gonna put a filter on this capture here real quick. we'll do a color correction. And then I'm just gonna turn this up. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. So, honestly, it probably looked like this at this point, okay? So I'm like trying to see my visual cue on the wall for where to jump, okay? I cannot freaking see it. And I was prepared for that because that's how it was in the practice room too. But still, like on stage, it's just different, man. On stage, like, you know, the pressure is on. There's a bunch of people watching. You need to perform. It's very different. So, so I'm a little too low here. Okay.
Gonna try to get a.
It's messed up. We'll just.
Okay. Fast pillars from Cutie as well. Fast pillars from Zeni.
So we get into worst room in the game.
Now, we're going to see right now with Oates, he is going to...
This is a good jump, good powerbomb placement, but I'm too low here. So I can't quite get the wall jump here. I'm like 1 pixel, 2 pixels short. There's a backup here, but it's really hard to time this backup, okay? I almost got it, but I bonked, all right? And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm taking a hit. I need to reset this room. Like, there's almost nothing that I could have done to avoid the hit at that point. So I take the hit. And because I had to grav jump, lava dive, my energy is really precarious here. If I take another hit, I'm dead. Okay? So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh man, like, am I going to be the one who dies here? You know? And I kind of got in my head about it a little bit. I was like, no, Zeni, like, just focus up, man. You got this. You've done this plenty of times. You're going to be fine. So I reset the room. I re-enter the room. I focus up. Cutie fell. So let's go back and see what happened to him. Sorry.
He's going to try to get a short charge right here, and it's going to look a little bit weird.
So again, this is what I'm talking about when I say this race was so good, because there was so much shown about how any percent can just go completely off the rails that you don't see in people's PBs, and you don't see it in world records. Okay? So looking at Cutie here, okay? He goes just a little too far and he falls in the acid. And if you don't know how to deal with this situation, you're going to take a laser shot here because your instinct is there's acid. I need to jump out of this freaking acid or I'm going to die. So he jumps and he takes the laser shot. It's like, oh no. So like, I'm almost dead. Cutie's almost dead. Okay, so like this is getting intense here. So if you look at me again, so this is my second try after resetting worst room in the game.
Oh no, Cutie is also getting out there.
Get up, Cutie. Cutie, get out of the acid.
And I thought I was too low again here. I was like, oh no, dude. But I just barely get the wall jump. Okay. And then the room is like lagging weird, and I'm like, I'm not literally shaking, but I'm shaken, if that makes sense. I'm like, I can't take any hits here. And I'm like thinking ahead. I'm like, okay, like I need energy. I'm like super worried about it, okay? Okay, so Cutie and I are progressing, okay? Now look at Emmett, all right? By the way, I morph over this pirate because I was just super scared. I was super scared of dying. So looking at Emmett here.
Oates is just, you know, taking a strong lead, not really making too many mistakes here, but
he doesn't quite get it. He messes up again. Resets the room.
He's gonna reset, and it looks like Zeni is able to slightly stabilize here.
I did not get enough energy here to be comfortable in Wasteland. Emmett messed up worst room in the game again, so he has to reset the room again. Okay?
Getting through these
There's so much going on right now.
Not make a mistake here.
So Eddie, and I actually heard this because I could hear commentary like in the background every once in a while. Eddie comments on how I can't make a mistake here, I'm gonna die, and I'm just like, Eddie, you mother, dude. Like, commentators cursing me at GDQ. What is this, man?
Once again, trying to get up the worst room.
Okay, so I managed to not die at the Deskigas. Okay. And Emmett makes it out of worst room in the game. All right. And then here, I'm like, okay, I need to time these shots really well, because if you run into those pirates, you're dead. So that works out. Okay. And then I get pretty good amount of supers here. Not as many as I wanted, but pretty good. And then I farm here, and I got one more. I'm like, okay, that's good. But my energy's not super great. Okay. This room goes pretty well. And we enter with full supers, okay? So, I'm entering Ridley. My energy is low, but my ammo count is exactly where I want it to be. And I know that if this fight goes well, it could potentially close the gap between Cutie and I. Or if he didn't have a great Ridley fight, I could take the lead. So I'm like, okay, I need a really solid Ridley here, okay? So I'm like focusing, all right?
Yep.
So we do the X Factor.
After Ridley turns red, when we see we have 9 supers, that's going to be 11
jump up, but I waited too long, and a particle lift, okay? So not only did I not get the Ridley pattern that I wanted, but it was my own freaking fault because I messed up the second X Factor. And I was so disappointed in myself. I was like, gosh dang it, Zeni. You picked up all this extra ammo so you could have an awesome Ridley fight, so you could upset the pacing, and then you just screw it up. Way to go.
See Ridley turning red, they're all counting in their head.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, my number one priority needs to be survival. Because my energy's low, right? So I'm just focusing really hard on counting my shots and avoiding damage as much as I can. So I'm like morphing under the tail and all that stuff.
Locked in mortal combat with Ridley here. Still got those 8 supers on tap, just trying to manipulate that pogo pattern.
Yep, Zeni also looking like he's going to be making short work of Ridley soon. Has to fire off those supers.
And I like this remote's picking up that E-tank. That's a great safety.
Fight's going pretty well for me, considering how it opened.
Zeni is so close.
Okay, so the Ridley E-tank, that is technically slightly suboptimal. Typically, we only need 3 E-tanks to beat the game. You're going to see Cutie is skipping that. So Cutie, with a lot of health, is going to just go ahead and skip it. So keep in mind.
And then I'm able to finish the Ridley fight without taking any more damage. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good at least. And I look at my energy and I'm like, okay, I think I should plan on taking the Ridley tank. So I move over to the other side of the room. I had enough energy that I could have skipped it, but I had already decided to take it. Because I knew that Oates had grabbed it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to play it safe. So I grabbed the Ridley tank, which I knew was not going to help me in terms of pacing, but I was like, at this point, like, I just want to make sure I don't die.
Okay, so here we go. Now, we have a manipulation coming up right now.
All right.
Specifically moving
so Cutie is gaining on Oates in a pretty big way right now.
Look at that. Parting in the middle, so those Ganters not hitting Oates on the way down. And now we're going to see Zeni get through this room and...
Oh, beautiful reverse through there with the speed keep. Emmett, though, got Ridley on the ropes, folks. Ridley's going down for Emmett. Let's go.
All right, just a few more charge shots left. And that's
Unfortunately, I mess up Wasteland here because Wasteland is cursed. We all know that. So then I have to wait for the boost from the Deskiga. But it's going all right. Oates gets through 3 Musketeers, no problem. Cutie gets through, no problem. Okay. And here I'm thinking like, okay, what's my strategy going to be for the rest of the run? And I was like, I want to play really aggressively because I have the extra energy tank, and I want to do everything I can to try and close the gap. was like, at this point, I'm probably not gonna win unless
Setting
Oates or
now on
someone
the escape,
dies.
heading into Three Musketeers pretty soon.
So I,
Emmett
you know, I just kind
takes
of
the
like
win
resolved
slam, but
myself at that point to
this
be
is
like, okay,
really
let's
interesting
play
with
aggressively.
shaking out between Oates and Cutie.
So here I go for the Three Musketeers
definitely a little bit
deboost,
of a lull right here. So Emmett is probably the person that's
and
at most dangerous, but not
unfortunately
quite
I
that distinct
screw
as
it
the
up,
one
and
that
I
we're-
not only screwed up, but I
his health is
screwed up
pretty
in
good
like
spot
the
against
worst
Rogers.
way
And we're gonna
possible.
see Oates,
Okay,
Cutie, Zeni,
so I
and
took
Emmett
a
once,
bunch of
the-
hits
the-
there,
the other two get out. We're gonna head
which
over to
was
Crade.
unfortunate because
Work a bit, but
that
until then, it's
eliminated
pretty easy, and I think
most of the possibility of me skipping
All right,
Botwoon Tank.
$10 from Twitchy TF2 who says Emmett is a close
And
friend of mine, so I had to donate
also,
for
like,
his
I just
fun.
kept making
I'm
little
so thankful
movement
we met
mistakes.
because of this game, and I'm proud
And I
to
was like,
see you
man,
running
like,
at
this
GDQ.
sucks.
Good luck to all the runners
But-
and kill the animals.
I decided to, you know, try and stay positive and
We also have $50 from Aaron
just
who
do what I
says,
could. I
"See
really
the
wanted that
Marios
super,
and
so I
kill
went
the
ahead and grabbed it.
Yoshis."
And I got another
Mario
super.
Maker
So I was feeling really good about my
Now,
super
Mario
count
Maker
here.
2 is over $91,000.
Let's go. We're
Less
so
than 30 or
close.
less than 34,000 to go. That is the next game. We have to meet that as soon as we
gotta
can.
do it.
Please
We
get your
gotta do
donations
it.
in. Assign them to that Super Mario Maker 2 incentive. Let us know that you want to see that at GDQ. Audience, do you want to see it at GDQ?
And then I don't know what happened there. It was really weird. It like dropped my jump input or something.
Emmett with a picture-perfect lower Norfair escape. Resources looking terrific, but we've got simultaneous fights here. Little Crate quick kill, stun lock, 3 supers. Down goes Crate.
So Cutie
Too easy.
messes up quick kill here,
Ooh, okay, let's see if you can get this back.
but he gets the backup, which is really good.
Easy like Sunday morning, baby. Oh my goodness, Cutie. The backups are 10 times as hard as the main stretch.
I have to
Yo,
say,
Emmett,
Cutie
how's
is
it going,
doing
dude?
Every stop right now. You saw Cutie just kind of jump into the spikes. We don't do that for fun. Everything that we do is very calculated. He is basically
Thanks.
trying to reduce lag.
It's been good. I
just
already
a few
watched it
frames
myself
just to catch up to Oates, just 'cause
on
he's
the
so-
flight home, but
he's a man
people
on a
kept
mission.
asking me
He
to
gets out of
watch
the
it back on
space.
stream and talk about it. So
Man-possessed.
so that's what I'm doing.
Singular
Yep.
vision, Eddie. Incredible stuff. Zeni about to start his great fight. Emmett, though, not far behind going, leaving Norfair, though the key to this route is the single dip into Norfair. You never have to come back.
So here I'm like,
Very nicely done, but our runners will
I'm
be
hoping
from
for
Meridian.
energy and
Don't
missiles.
sleep on Meridian.
from
It's got
Crade.
Peaceful, serene sounding music, Eddie, but it is anything but easy. Woo!
And I didn't really get much of
Oates
either,
is going to have to break this tube.
which was
All
unfortunate.
right, so
What does
keep
this
in
mean
mind,
for Cutie?
that means Cutie's not going to have to break the tube, so he's actually way
Hey, Chaba,
closer
how's it
than
going?
might seem right now. So Meridia, this whole section, we've said it before. Meridia
Yeah,
is
so at
the
this
place where
point I've kind of
runs
resolved
die.
myself to like,
Die.
It's not
I'm like, you know what, I'm
necessarily
just gonna try and have fun with the rest of the race. Like,
Your
again, I was still
ability
planning on
to
playing it
survive is
aggressively,
not as
but I
dangerous as
knew
something
like
Lore and Orpher. However, there's so many tricks where if you
I
miss it,
am
you lose
not
15
going to
seconds,
pass
you lose 20
anybody unless
seconds,
there's major
things
mistakes here.
compound. If you
Okay,
mess
so
up
I want to
the
point something out. Sorry, need to go back here a little bit.
ag to save a ag,
So,
to save a few
look at
frames
Oates.
just to catch up to Oates.
Okay.
Catch up.
He is a man on a mission to take Oates out of this race.
Playing like a man possessed. A man of
Bonk.
singular vision, Eddie. Incredible stuff.
All right.
Zeni about to start his
Now
great
look at
fight.
Cutie.
Emmett, though, not far behind going, leaving Norfair, though the key to this route is the single dip in
Same
Norfair.
bonk.
You never have to come back to it. Very nice. Keep on Meridian. Let's go to die.
It's not necessarily, except for maybe Dragon, your ability to
And now look at
survive
me.
is not as dangerous as something like Lore and Orpher. However, there's so many tricks where if you miss it, you lose 15 seconds, you lose 20 seconds.
Very similar bonk.
Compound. If you
Okay.
mess up the Dragon fight, you mess up the bots.
If that is not super strong evidence of fast moving rooms being hard to see on an LCD compared to a CRT, I don't know what is. Those jumps are hard, okay? But we all missed it in pretty much the same way, and it's because we couldn't see. Like, you just can't see.
Fight, run over if you're going for a
So-
PB. And basically, we've seen races
So, yeah.
determined by Meridia. So Oates is first up. He's going to be heading over to Botswoon. We're going to see a B-Factor strat. Nice.
Nice. Great
Emmett.
kill.
Yeah, I understand why they don't, Sassy.
Ball out of Crade warehouse there. Varus
I-
for Emmett.
Yep.
And now setting up for the
I
last
wish they
big
would
boss
give a
game.
little more love
Here
to
we go. X Factor.
retro
Swing that
games
over.
in their marathon like they used to, but they just don't. Actuate, OLED helps, but it doesn't eliminate the motion blur. I have a very, 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 very nice OLED monitor sitting here that I'm using to watch this right now. And it helps, but the motion blur is still there. So
Hit Botwoon in the face. And 6 supers will do the trick. Here we go.
Nicely done, Oats. Beautiful. But Cutie's saying anything you can do, Oats, I can do better.
Yep. And we
Look
got
at the same
Oats.
pattern.
I think we're getting closer to being able to replace CRTs, but we're not quite there yet.
Oh,
You missed it.
Not
Block
quite.
ball into the tunnel.
Block ball in the tunnel. Say it with me if you know it. Yahtzee!
Freaking hockey, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Something I want to point out.
All right.
So
So
have to get that E-tank.
No,
so
he
he
didn't.
got the Ridley E-tank and he had full health leaving Botwoon.
Oats
Well, first of all, let's see this full halfy from Oats.
with the full halfy.
All the way across.
Cutie
Saying anything you
with
can
the full
do,
halfy.
Oats.
All
I do my my X Factor strat on Botwoon. It goes off.
That from Zeni. Perfect
Well.
pattern. Another Botwoon goes down. Very nicely done. D-Factor strats.
Something else that's pretty hype. Less than 30,000 to go on that Super Mario Maker 2 incentive. Over 3/4 of the way there. Please help us add that game to the marathon.
Yahtzee!
All right, so we're gonna see this Dragon fight. How we start off, we're gonna see different strategies
All
from
right.
both. But
And then
Oats is gonna do something called the rain
I'm
dance.
entering
They're
full
essentially
halfy
gonna do
here.
the same thing. They're gonna do this X Factor, try to get all 4 particles along with the Shine Spark to get Dragon's.
I was worried I was
down
gonna
below
miss it.
half. That's a good opener.
But
for
I got
Oats.
it.
Opener. Let's
Cutie
go.
still has
Great
not
opener from
adopted
Cutie, though.
Fire
the more
First of all,
consistent
let's see
Dragon,
different
which I find interesting.
All right, so we're gonna see this
Um,
Dragon fight. How we start off, we're gonna see different.
I understand not doing what Oats is doing here because this setup is really laggy in comparison. However, when I get to Dragon, if you look at my setup, it's barely any more laggy than what Cutie does here, and it's way more consistent.
Strategy from both.
So Cutie's doing the old X Factor setup
They're
here.
gonna do the same thing. They're gonna do this X Factor, try to get all 4 particles along with the Shine Spark to get Dragon's health down below half.
And
That's a good opener for Oats.
Great opener. Let's
that's
go.
a good
Great
setup.
for
That's a
Cutie,
good
though.
opener for
Fire
Cutie.
happy from Zeni. Couple missiles, finish him off.
Unfortunately, he messed up his
Let's
tap
go.
there,
Cutie, get the short charge.
and then he got gooped.
Oh, Cutie misses the short charge.
And the thing about Dragon, here's the thing about Dragon in any percent. In 100%, if Dragon goes off the rails, you just spam your ammo until Dragon is dead. It sucks, but it's not that bad. In any percent, if Dragon goes off the rails, you don't have enough ammo to finish Dragon off. You also don't have enough energy to play around with your Shine Sparks willy-nilly. So you end up in this situation that Cutie is in here, where you're at the mercy of Dragon's RNG. If Dragon gives you a bunch of swoops, there's not really anything you can do until Dragon stops swooping. And when Dragon goops, you have to hope that you get good drops from the goops and good goop patterns so that you can shoot them in a way so that you can collect the drops and not take damage, okay? So if you look at Cutie's fight here,
Oats is gonna bomb jump out if you're.
he tries to short charge.
Blue suit.
Okay.
Dragon is swooping, so he can't use the Shine Spark. He tries to short charge again, and then I think he realizes, oh, my energy's not in a good place.
Now we're gonna
So
see
he
Oats,
tries
he's
to
in a glitch
avoid
state right now.
the
If you look,
damage, but he still
sees
gets
Spark
bonked.
here that you can't
Then he gets
manage
bonked
to
again.
this glitch
Then he gets
state.
bonked again.
Spark's
So now
right
he's like
across
almost
if
dead.
you can.
Reverse
Right?
full happy.
Oh,
And this
Cutie
is-
must be
this is
so
super
careful.
scary,
Has no
okay?
AP, could absolutely get killed
No
here.
ammo, no
Being in Health Bomb here sucks in a few different ways. One, if you take a hit from Dragon, you're dead. Two, when Dragon goops, you're not going to get any ammo. You're only going to get energy. Cutie has zeros here. He can't realistically do damage to Dragon right now until he gets ammo pickups from the goops. And he's not going to get ammo pickups from the goops because he's in health bomb range of the energy. Not only that, but if you get gooped with this much energy and Dragon manages to pick you up, you are completely at the mercy of RNG, whether Dragon slaps you or not, before you're able to break free, which is 60 inputs on the D-pad, I think, or something like that. Okay, so Cutie got gooped. Okay, we'll go back and watch my fight in a minute here too. He got gooped. He gets the energy, and he manages to get out. But again, he doesn't have any ammo to finish Dragon off. And when Dragon is swooping like this, you don't have time to prime a charge shot to do damage. And he doesn't have enough energy to try and do a Shine Spark. He ends up trying to do one there anyway. It doesn't work out, which is probably good, because if it had, he probably would have died. He's back in Health Bomb range again. Dragon's still not dead. He's out of ammo again. This is what I'm talking about. Like, when Dragon goes off the rails in any percent, it is so much worse than it is in something like 100%. It's not like 20 seconds of time loss. It's like a minute of time loss, 2 minutes of time loss. It compounds on itself. It just gets worse and worse and worse. So let me just say, the way that Cutie handled this situation is probably the single most impressive thing that happened in this entire race. I'm not saying that to butter him up. He handled this situation so well. He didn't handle it perfectly. He probably shouldn't have Shine Sparked when he did and like stuff like that. But the fact that he didn't just tilt and die is so impressive. Like, it is beyond, like, you want to talk about freaking like God gamer status? Oats won this race, but Cutie survived this race. And that is incredible based on what he was dealing with here. So he gets rid of more goops. He takes another goop. He gets more energy. He gets grabbed. He manages to get away before he gets slapped, and then he finishes off Dragon, right? And if you look at his face there, like, look at his expression. So he's like, I mentioned this earlier. He told me after the race, he said, dude, during that Dragon fight, like, I felt like I was so disappointed. So he's like shaking his head. He's disappointed. Like, you can see it. Okay. He's for sure worried about dying. Like, I would be too, of course.
Okay, anyway, we have Zeni flying across. Cutie's gonna have to.
Okay, and then he finishes, and you can just see the look of like relief. But also, if you saw, he looked up at the screen, and I'm guessing that he saw that I had passed him up at that point. And I think there was a look of disappointment there too. And I don't blame him for that at all. I mean, that Dragon fight was miserable for him. Like, I feel really bad. But I'll say it again. I think that Dragon fight and the way that he handled it was probably the most impressive thing in this whole race. So seriously, like, shout outs to Cutie for sure. So let's go back to my Dragon fight here, just so you can see it if you didn't already. So I do a different rain dance setup, which is one that I came up with tweaking something that Zost had been doing, and there was another runner that came up with a similar setup before that. Anyway, I really like this rain dance setup for Dragon because it's really consistent and it's way less laggy than the old like Behemoth rain dance setup. So I shoot when these guys go off screen for the charge, and then I jump and turn, which delays the X factors coming out a little bit. Short charge, Shine Spark, and then more damage here. And then you want to Shine Spark. If you see lag frames right here, you want to Shine Spark back to the left immediately. I don't remember if I saw them or not, but I was just barely too late on that reaction. So I knew, like, okay, this is going to go off the rails unless I kill Dragon right now. Okay? So I just select my super, and then we're good right there. From there, I try to get a spike suit, but I don't have a blue suit, so I have to do short charges. And unfortunately, I don't quite get it. So I'm like, okay, well, that sucks, but whatever.
Don't get it, Cutie.
Okay, so from here,
Just has to be a little bit careful.
I'm just focusing on, like, okay, my resources are pretty good going to Turian,
Okay, anyway, we have Zeni
but
across. Cutie's gonna have to get out of the
I
clutch.
didn't
Dragon out here.
consider that my supers were kind of low.
Down goes Dragon.
And I'll talk about that
The
more in
spike
just a
suit, that's the
second.
glitch state that's gonna
Oh
let him
my
keep the
gosh.
spark across.
So far, the only one to get Spike Suit has been Cutie.
So Cutie got the spike suit, which is great.
Emmett is going to
Oh
go
my
ahead and start
gosh.
this fight up, and Oates is flying over to that G4. Looks like he is going to be able to be the first person there. And wow, this has been an incredible race so far.
Emmett, though, starting off, opener with that X Factor.
And then he
against,
gets it
against
back
Dragon
across
here.
Coliseum, which is also
Will
great.
that Shine Sparks, the only
I kinda
boss
mess up
lane
that
takes
strat a
down
little
from,
bit.
Shine Sparks.
Here's Emmett's Dragon fight, and
All right, let's see if we can get
Emmett's
that
Dragon fight was like textbook.
two-round from
It was such a good fight. Not only that, but he also gets spike suit immediately, which is awesome.
Emmett, you mad lad.
a double frame perfect trick that allows you to keep your spark to get across. So
I've been missing this jump a lot. I almost missed it there.
Just going to be able to freely spark across. We saw that earlier.
Emmett
as well.
unfortunately uses his
Run
spike suit
but,
right here,
Yeah, here we go. We have.
so that sucked.
Oh, excellent.
And then, okay, so here's the thing. I farmed these bugs, right? And I was like, I'll get at least one super here.
Okay.
I get no supers, and I didn't notice that
Through my love is-
until I was already through the
A
door.
little bit slower.
And I was like,
The
oh,
scenic
crap.
route, the scenic route.
Because you have to use a super here.
Oh my goodness, Eddie. This is
And if you're looking at my
activating,
resources,
spellbinding, edge of your seat Super Metroid act.
to enter Turian, you have to clear a missile door, which is either 5 missiles, which I don't have, or a super. Okay. After that, you have to kill Metroids, which again are 5 missiles or 1 super. 5 missiles? I think. Anyway, the point is, I'm looking at my resources here. I'm like, what happens if I don't get any missile drops on the way to Turian? And I'm like racking my brain. I'm like, do I slow down here and farm gamers? Like, what do I do here? Like, there's a bunch of different farming strats that you can do, but
Here today.
none of them are super great.
I know, but that being said,
So-
we have a little bit of a downtime for Oates. That being said, it's not over
You
yet.
might have seen my facial expression there. I'm thinking, I'm racking my brain. I'm like, what do I do?
We also just
I'm like,
crossed
okay, hopefully I get a missile here.
$100,000 toward that
Nope,
Super
I get
Mario
energy.
bonus game.
I got energy that I needed so badly, right?
Time for a quick donation.
And I'm like, okay,
Roll those
what do I do? And I'm like thinking, I'm like, I'm just gonna play normally until I get to Turian, and if I don't get any missile drops between here and the missile door, I guess I'll go farm a Kago. Like, that's literally where I was at. I decided to farm these waivers. They didn't give me any. It's like, okay, well, I hope I get something from these pirates. Nothing, 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 nothing. Oh, super. So I got a super, right? I'm like, okay, well, at least I got a super, right? But I'm still not in a good situation here.
Oh my god.
It's pretty unlikely that you kill a Metroid and it doesn't drop any missiles or supers, but it can happen. So now I'm racking my brain and I'm like, what do I do? Like, how do I handle Metroid Room 1? What I probably should have done in retrospect, because of my massive amount of energy, what I should have done is just group all 4 Metroids. Okay?
Now,
Eddie,
But
resources.
yes.
on the
Tori
fly in a
is-
race setting at
Oates
GDQ on
with
stage,
4 ETs
that thought
and
didn't
has
even
a lot
cross
of
my
super
mind.
missiles coming in. However, not getting too many
I
right
wasn't
now.
thinking about the
We
fact that
wanna
I have
come out with
I have a
at
ton
least
of
15
energy.
missiles and 10
I was just thinking, okay, how do I farm this first Metroid in a way that I get I get the resources that I need to clear the last one?
Yep.
Yes, Chabo, I know that strat, but I hate it. I mess it up every single time, and it's slower. So, I don't do it.
Full resources heading into
Um,
skip.
So,
has a strong lead here. However, the Metroid
I'm trying to decide what to do.
have a very dangerous moment here.
And
Top eight
I'm
skip
like,
there.
okay,
New
I'm just going to be a little slow with this first Metroid. So I run forward, and then I run back.
here.
and I
So
get what I
we're gonna see
need
Oats
from
start
it.
on the left
And
side
then
of
I'm
the
like,
baby, and
okay,
we're gonna do a clockwise baby skip to save a few seconds.
I'll group
Let's see
these,
if Oats can nail it here.
Shout outs to Stash.
and then that goes really well. I get a bunch of drops, and I'm like, okay, we're good now. And of course, now that we're good, I proceed to screw this up in a really bad way.
Makes it through. Oh
Okay, sorry, I need to go back here.
Very dangerous moment here. It's called the baby
Real
skip.
quick,
There has been
if you just
new
look over at Oats,
technology.
New
Oats has traditionally been very, not anti, but not pro 3-jump baby skip, okay?
technology.
Well, we make the
Eddie.
baby go clockwise.
So,
It only happened in the last
this is
year.
not the first time that Stachio skip has been shown at GDQ. The first time was last year at the co-op run in SGDQ 2023, but I messed it up in that run. I got grabbed by the baby. So Oats has an opportunity to show the first successful Stachio skip at SGDQ here. And I'm thinking for sure that he's going for 4-jump because he doesn't do 3-jump normally, okay? So he does his normal setup,
Looks good so far.
and then he freaking goes for 3-jump. And he gets it.
Oh my God.
Which is so freaking cool, dude. It is so cool that Oats nailed that. I didn't even realize until after the race, okay? I watched it back. I was like, wait, he did 3-jump? That's so freaking cool, man. So, like, GG Oats. That's awesome.
Got the 3-jump.
So
Oh
I mess
my
up
goodness.
Metroid
I
Room
was
2.
thinking, That's not race safe.
And then this goes okay, and I get good resources here.
Oh my goodness. All right, Zeb skip. If you get past it, you stand
And I'm able to do the fast strat here, so I go for it, and I get it. And then I get this D-boost, and I'm like, okay. So here I am thinking, all right, Oats got Stachio skip, but I thought he got 4-jump, right? I'm like, I decided to play aggressive, and I'm like, I could do 3-jump, and that would be super hype, because nobody's done 3-jump before, because I didn't realize that he'd done it. So I decide, I'm like, I'm going to go for 3-jump here, which I'm pretty good at, to be honest. Strangely enough, I used to be better at 3-jump than I am now, like the first couple months that this was going on, but I'm still pretty decently high success rate with it. So I get a good setup here, and that's good too, but I jumped like 1 or 2 frames too early. You need just a little more run speed before you jump, or the baby is just gonna follow you into the door, and then you're GG. So people think that I got through. You can see me shaking my head. I'm like, nope, we're not good. So I get the perma baby slow. Chabo mentioned Cutie's Metroid drops, which I did want to talk about. So let's just talk about that here. So Cutie is not getting good Metroid drops here at all. Okay. And also, he doesn't have enough missiles to play around here. Okay. If I had entered that room with full missiles and 5 supers, I could have grouped and missiled, and I probably would have been fine. Not guaranteed, but probably. But Cutie needs 9 supers. I could have gotten away with 7, and that's a big reason that I did 25-10 in this race, was that it had the potential to pay off huge in Turian. Cutie ended up resetting this room because he was worried that he didn't have enough resources. So anyway, I get perma slow here from the baby. Cutie has a huge opportunity to catch up to me here because I have perma slow, which means I have to go save and reset. And unfortunately, he also jumps too early and gets grabbed. Okay. So he has to go refill. I have to save and reload. Okay. So Cutie and I could have been like neck and neck, but that's just not how it worked out. And that's okay.
60 charge shots. We're already at that 75% mark. That's why we see the catch-up beam.
Oats is doing really good with Mother Brain. I was a little worried about that hop there when I saw it in my first watch back.
Yes.
But yeah, it turned out okay.
That's it.
And then, so here I have the resources that I need to have a super good Mother Brain 2 fight. It's not, there's no way I can catch up to Oates at this point. It's GG for me. But I'm like, okay, I can still like show off a really good Mother Brain 2 fight. Emmett gets baby skip, which is super awesome. Congrats to Emmett. You know, way to show your proficiency at this game for sure.
Two people on the Mother Brain, and we have Emmett.
That's also kind of a throwback to the GDQ races of old, where when baby skip was first a new thing in the GDQ races like 10 years ago, if I remember correctly, there was one race where everybody missed it except for whoever was in last place, which is super cool. Like, that's, you know, I think I wish that there was a way to convey to the casual viewer just how good the player that comes in last really is. Like, if you put Emmett against 99.9% of people on this planet, he's going to wipe the floor with them. It won't even be a question. No comparison, right? But you look at Emmett in the context of this race, and if you're a casual viewer, you're like, oh, you know, he's in fourth and he's way behind and whatever. And like that's just unfortunate that that's like how it pans out. But I love stuff like, for example, I mess up baby skip. Cutie messes up baby skip. Emmett gets baby skip. Like, from a casual viewer perspective, like that's gotta like change your perspective a little bit. Like, okay, you know, like he is actually really good at this, you know? So I was really glad to see that Emmett got baby skip for sure. And his Dragon fight too. Yeah, I already mentioned this, but his Dragon fight was textbook. It was so good. It was so good. So
Behind.
and yeah, Emmett's PB today is better than Zos PB as of SGDQ 2017. Like, for sure.
Let's do it.
So I'm counting my shots here. I don't remember exactly how the shots lined up, but it was not in a way that was beneficial for me having the extra supers, unfortunately. But my main priority here, obviously, was to not die. So I'm just counting shots and trying really hard to not take damage.
Best baseball counter of all time.
I have to agree, Eddie.
But this fight was going, you know, relatively well.
Oh my God.
So now we're gonna go back just a little bit. All right, so look at Cutie here.
Just behind.
$13,000 to go on our bonus game, by the way.
13,000, make it happen.
So Cutie had to refill, right? And then he took some damage on the way to Mother Brain. So he has 81 energy. Onion rings do 20 energy apiece, and they ignore iframes. Okay.
Getting through that fight as well.
Wow. Very nicely done.
Mother Brain meatballs.
Quick $200 donation here from Zoob, who says,
He jumps.
Shout out to Samus.
Shout out to Samus for sure.
And then Mother Brain gives him a really mean pattern.
I have to agree, Eddie. I have to agree.
4 quadruple onion ring. Okay.
What?
If Cutie had not missed baby skip, he would be dead. Like, that is just that is just crazy. Okay, so he talked about this a little bit. He was like, I took that onion ring barrage and I was like, oh, it's over, I'm dead. And then I saw that I had 301, and he's like, I saw that I had 301. I'm like, I'm good, we got this is fine. Apparently he was like 100% confident that he could finish this fight without taking any more damage, which is, again, that's such a flex, dude. Like, Cutie is so amazing the way that he, again, like the circumstances behind his run and him keeping his cool, so incredible, dude. Like, I literally I know I already said this. I'm not exaggerating. I think of all of the things that happened in this race, Cutie's performance under pressure was the most impressive to me. So
Cutie took a barrage of onion rings, has 1 HP to work with.
So there I used my supers. Now we're in catch-up phase.
Talk about skinny
I'm just focusing on not taking damage here. I jumped a little late there, but we're okay.
Oh no, baby.
Missed a shot
But
there.
They gave us this awesome hyper beam.
And
Look at
then
this.
we're good. So,
Completely
not the
worth
greatest
it.
mother brain, but yeah. You see me take my headphone off there, just in case you missed earlier. These were noise canceling headphones, so it was hard to hear. And I was like, okay, Oates is almost done with his mother brain, so we need to know, are we killing or saving the animals? So I took mine off, he took his off.
Find out if we are saving or killing today.
I apologize to everyone in the audience and everyone doing the run, but we are saving those animals.
So right there, they say, we're saving those animals. And I go to put my headphones back on, right? Because I heard. And then Oates leans over to me.
All right, save those animals.
And he's like, wait, what are we doing? Because he couldn't hear. He couldn't hear her. He's like, what are we doing? So I'm like, we're saving. We're saving. And he's like, oh, okay.
We're less than $9,000 away from our
So what's
bonus.
really funny about that exchange, you'll see in a couple minutes.
So close.
So he's just finishing up.
Scene for Zeni.
He's finishing up his race.
Emmett, though, with a strong start and a strong finish for this mother brain. That is, oh man, all 4 runners completing Mother Brain 2.
So yeah, Cutie survived and Emmett survived. So at this point, it's pretty much guaranteed that all 4 runners are going to survive the race, which is a first for GDQ, which is so cool. Like, again, I'm so impressed and happy with how we performed, even though like none of us played at our best. I mean, look at that. Like Oates bonks the Pirates on his way out, right? None of us played at our best, and I wouldn't have expected any of us to play at our best because of the environment, because of the monitors we were using, because of, you know, everything. But we played well, and even more than the fact that we played well, we managed to do something in a race at GDQ that had never been done before. And that I'm just super proud of us for that. So Oates is just like playing around with the animals a little bit here. He's just flexing. He thinks he's so cool. Like, I'm just gonna, you know, like goof off here because I win. I'm the best. Is that a good Oates impersonation? I'm the best, dude.
The ship has never looked sweeter, Eddie.
Here we go. Oates getting through the steam.
All right, so there's Oates. There's time. 42, 54 or whatever it was. All right, so here's my escape.
But we're not done yet, Eddie. We got 3 more runners. Zeni on the escape now, followed closely behind by Cutie.
We also have less than $5,000 to go on our bonus game.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's do this.
So they've been pushing this bonus game pretty hard during our run. I don't know if you heard that, but
Surely we're gonna make it.
we're trying really hard to finish this
I can't stress enough
this goal down here.
how impressive it is. We've had races in the past.
We have.
Where the completion rate typically is under 50%.
So I've had a pretty good escape so far.
They're so great.
This has been incredible.
To
Get the
actually
shine
pull it
spark.
off and all of them completing without dying is incredible. I can't stress
Go up into
enough how good it
Parlor.
is. Just make sure to save the
And for some reason, I was like flubbing Parlor. I had a really hard
The
time with
audience is
Parlor here
participating in
for
a race of
whatever
their own.
reason.
Only 3,000 left on that bonus game. Can we meet it before the
And
race
then
finishes this
just a few
run?
more.
I go over the mound.
CDQ Emmett is on the escape
And
right
Oates
now.
sees, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? And I swear he tapped me. I remember physically feeling him
The audience is
tap me,
participating in a race of
okay?
their own. Only
So I gotta
3,000
confirm
left on
this
that
and
bonus
see if
game.
I
Can
like
we meet it before the race
imagined
finishes
that.
this
Just a few
run?
more.
SGDQ Emmett is on the escape right now.
Wait. Zeni,
No, he didn't. Okay, he didn't tap me. I swore he tapped me. I guess he just like pointed. Anyway, he's like, dude, what are you doing? And the couch is like, hey, what are you doing? So, okay. For anybody who hasn't been around in my Super Metroid journey for a long, long time, maybe you haven't seen my RBO run at AGDQ 2019. Okay. AGDQ 2019, we're finishing up that run, and the save kill incentive ended up being kill, which I was happy about, right? But at the end of that run, I go down to the animals anyway, all right? And everybody's freaking out. They're like, what are you doing? And what I did is I opened the door and I shot through the door to kill the animals. And then I go back to the ship, right? I trolled the animals. I trolled the crowd, you know, whatever. And for a long time, I had this idea of, if it's save, maybe I pretend like I'm going to the ship, and then I do a super swag strat on the way back. So this door right here, you can open this door with a Dopplered hyperbeam shot from over on the right side of the screen. And if you have speed booster, you can jump and you can do a speedball through the door, and you'll break through the blocks that would normally be there on the right side of the mound of Alcatraz with a speedball, and then you fall down to the animals, and it's super cool looking. So a few minutes before this part of the run, I was like, okay, if it's save, I think I want to do that. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, I mean, I don't know if people will be receptive to that. And, you know, there's this worry that people might be like, oh, you know, look at him flexing, like, eh. And I was kind of worried about it, so I almost didn't do it. Because that wasn't the point, right? The point was I trolled the animals at my first GDQ run. And while I really hope that I get to do more GDQ runs in the future, this could realistically be my last one. Realistically, it could. I hope it's not. But it could. I was like, if this is my last GDQ run, I want to be able to say that I trolled the animals twice. You know, in both ways. So I pretended to forget the animals, right? I run past. I'm going to the ship. Everybody's freaking out.
Go back. Zeni, turn around. Zeni, turn around.
And then I jump over the ship, and I'm like, okay, time to do this speedball. But I got weird steam.
Oh, okay, all right. He's Zeni,
Steam again.
Go, Zeni, go.
And so I messed up, right? And I was like, well, maybe I can mockball over the mound, and that didn't work out either. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. So at that point, I'm just like, eh. But I was like, I wonder if Cutie's going to catch up to me here.
Will Cutie get a shine spark going in? That's oh, here we go.
Look at this.
So I do like the normal, you know, optimal exit. Cutie does the shine spark, which is way more swag.
Yeah,
He's
Cutie.
sparking out of there.
Here's something
Oh my
funny.
gosh.
Now we got Emmett.
I heard a couple days after this race, apparently Emmett didn't know how to save the animals.
Emmett's got to go and save the animals right now.
So he just kind of like goes where everybody else went.
And Zeni coming in second place.
And he's just like, what do I do? I guess I'll try to do the shine spark. I don't know.
Less than 1,000 to go for
And he just like shoots.
Emmett saved the
And then he's
animals.
like, I have to wait for them to leave, right? So he like waits around and then he goes. And then here's the best part.
Go,
Because he'd never done this before, he didn't realize that you can just go up the right side. He had no idea. So he goes up freaking Alcatraz with all of the movement items, which is really hard, by the way. And he gets it first try. And then he gets on the ship.
All right. And Emmett headed in the fourth there. And as Emmett crosses. It looks like the challenge is completed.
And right after we finish, we hit the bonus game incentive as well.
Thank you so much, everyone.
So, seriously, I'll say this again. Like, there was so much awesome stuff in this race. Like, even though we didn't, like, play to the best of our ability, this race was such a cool showcase. It was just so cool. So freaking cool. So, anyway, this is almost over. But I just want to show again, like, so I stand up. Hockey and Eddie hug.
All right.
And as soon as they hug, there's feedback from mics. Right there. But yeah, I stand up and I'm like, Oates, give me a hug, man. And we hug it out. And then I walk over and I make Eddie hug me. And I make Hockey hug me over here. And I make Cutie and Emmett hug me. And again, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but like, it's really important to me that people understand that, like, we're friends. You know? Not that everybody gets along with everybody else in the Super Metroid community. Like, there's definitely people that don't like each other. But in general, like, we're friends. We like each other. I love every single person that I met, that I saw in person from the Super Metroid community at GDQ. I mean, some of that is like pretty like, what's the word? Like, it's not super deep, you know, but like, I feel so grateful to be part of a community that, like, we genuinely like each other. We like spending time together. We don't just show up to GDQ and like do our own thing and grind out practice to try and like best each other. You know what I mean? Not that we hung out the entire time, but we spent a lot of time together, whether we were playing Super Metroid or not, just like hanging out, just because we like each other. So anyway, it was really good. The race was super good, super fun, super good showcase. Just it was so good. I'm so grateful that I was able to be a part of that. You know? I feel like I can't really put it into words. Anyway, somebody asked earlier if we could do like other categories at GDQ, and yeah, I mean they switch the category often. We runners submit what we want to run, and then GDQ either accepts it or they don't accept it. So we decided any percent this time, and you know, who knows, maybe we'll do 100% another time, and I don't know. Somebody else also asked why I say that realistically this could be my last GDQ appearance. Like I said, I really want to go back. And if I'm being honest, I have every intention of going back someday. But there's a lot of factors to this. Sorry, I just need to reposition my mic here. Kind of moving my desk around a little bit. There are a lot. There's a lot of factors to this. Last year was not any percent. Last year was 100% co-op. The number one factor contributing to whether I go to GDQ or not again in the future is prioritizing my family's well-being appropriately. Not that they weren't taken care of while we were gone, because they were. My kids had a great time with my sisters that took care of them. But they missed us, you know? And the other thing is, we would just take them with us if it wasn't so expensive. Which brings me to point number 2. A lot of people are under the wrong impression, I guess is probably the best way for me to put it, that GDQ sponsors or funds runners that appear. They don't. People that perform at GDQ, unless they're staff, it's 99% out of pocket for them to get there. The only thing that is covered by GDQ is the admission fee, which is, I think, $80. So you have to fund your own travel, which is, hey, Crispy, what's up? It's 85? Okay, yeah. You have to fund your own travel, which I can't drive to Minneapolis. It's too far. It's way too far. So we have to fly. Traveling in general is getting more expensive. It's way more expensive than it was 5 years ago. And when you're flying, the more people that are traveling, the less cost effective it gets compared to driving. Like, plane tickets are expensive. And Sassy and I had a lot of help this year getting to Minneapolis. We had a friend help us with our flights, and Twin very graciously let us stay in her hotel room. You know, we helped. We paid her a little bit, but it was a fraction of what it cost her, I'm sure. So, like, just those two things alone are super expensive. Not factoring in food while you're there. For me personally, I have to have a vehicle or my anxiety just destroys me. So rental cars are expensive. I can't stomach the idea of just relying on Ubers to get around everywhere. So that's not an option for me. And if we were to take our kids, that would be even more so, right? Like if next time we went to GDQ, we brought our kids along, we would for sure have to get a rental car. I'm not going to Uber our kids around everywhere we go. No way. No way. You know? So, like, so that's super expensive. Parking is expensive. Like, there's a lot of monetary factors to making it to GDQ. I will never say that it wasn't worth it. It was 110% worth it. It was 1,000% worth it. I am so glad. I'm so glad that I went to GDQ this year and last year, and in 2020 and in 2019. Every experience that I've had traveling to GDQ has been such a hugely positive experience in my life. Traveling is also stressful. I do not enjoy traveling. So if I'm going to travel somewhere, it has to be something that I super want to do. But yeah, so on a personal level, you factor those things in as to whether GDQ in the future is realistic. And yeah, I mean, it could be realistic. I don't think it's going to happen next year, but I'm loosely planning on the idea of going to a GDQ in 2026. I don't know whether it will be AGDQ or SGDQ, but I want to. But then you need to look at the other thing, which is GDQ has been trending down in popularity consistently since 2020. That's not necessarily a bad thing. They're still raising tons of money for charity. But, and looks like their ads are running, and I'm sorry about that for anybody missing the end of this, but I snoozed them as much as I could. So, but yeah, GDQ's been trending down in popularity, and not just GDQ, but speedrunning as a whole for a casual audience isn't really a spectacle anymore. Most people that would care about seeing it casually have seen it, and it's not magical anymore. So, you know, maybe they get excited for GDQ, but then they tune in and they're like, wait, I've already seen this before. This isn't like it was last year. This isn't as cool as it was last year. And so they don't keep watching, which I totally understand. But what that means is that its reach is less than it used to be. And you shouldn't attend GDQ for exposure. It's something that can happen, but you shouldn't plan on it. Right? But the reason that this is a factor is because the landscape of streaming is changing. Not just speedrunning, but streaming in general. The landscape of streaming is changing. The landscape of speedrunning is changing. GDQ's popularity is trending down. And so, yes, I hope that I get to go to GDQ again. I hope that we get to go in 2026. But there's no guarantee that it's even going to happen in 2026. There's no guarantee that I'm even going to still be streaming or playing Super Metroid in 2026. I hope I am. I plan on it. I don't have any plan of quitting tomorrow or anything like that. You know what I mean? But as this event has been approaching, I've had a very strong feeling, even before submitting, that realistically this could be like a last chance thing. And I don't mean to sound doom and gloom about that, but like I was really hoping that any percent would be submitted to GDQ next year so that I could participate, because I didn't think that I was going to be able to I didn't think I was going to be able to make it this year. But QD submitted and then Oats submitted. And honestly, that kind of forced my hand. I was like, if I want to participate in an any percent race, I have to submit for this, because there's no guarantee that it's going to happen again. This could be it. This could be it for any percent races at GDQ. And it probably is it for an any percent race with Oats, which I really wanted to do. Not that he wouldn't participate again if there is one, but like, I don't know. I don't know how to express this, but like, this whole like Super Metroid speedrunning, GDQ, all this stuff, like, I hope it's around for decades to come, right? But we can't count on that. We can't plan on it. And yeah, so again, realistically, there's a chance that I won't be able to do it again. So because of that, I'm just really happy that it went as well as it did. And yeah, so Humility asked, there isn't a 2025. I'm assuming you're referring to GDQ. There is GDQ in 2025. They already announced both AGDQ and SGDQ for 2025. I probably can't go to GDQ in 2025. It would be very outside of what I'm expecting to be able to do next year. If I can go to GDQ again, I need to plan on it being in 2026, just because of the way that everything works out. And that might not work out either. You know, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 18 months. So anyway, all of that being said, again, I'm super happy with how this went. I feel like we put on a super good race. It was very what is the word? Representative? That's not the word. It showed any percent in a very real way. So yeah, I was happy with it.